guys, this is Hayden Hurst, NFL tight end. I'm partnering today with Red Recover. We're going to run you guys through some drills. I started using Red Recover last year, my 4th year in the NFL. It just helps me on Mondays after games, get my recovery process started, get back into the fold of the week, and get ready for the following Sunday. If you want to recover like me, use Red Recover.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. The Sports Talk 305 network is back. It's time to talk Miami Dolphins football with the greatest fan base in the world. EJDconstruction.com is fully insured, liability and workers' comp. Call Eric if you need a custom home builder or general contractor. 305-433-4843. This is the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins Postgame Show on the Sports Talk 305 network. The show is mastered by Sean Stanley and Chad Shobe. Here's your host, the Big O.
All righty. Well, we got about one game left here in the season. And, I'd love to tell you that I've never seen this story before, that, I can't say I'm shocked, because over the last 25 years, the shocking thing is that the Wanstead years were the great years. Now, I want to open up the postgame show to tell you that the Wanstead years were the great years in the last 25 years for the Miami Dolphins. You actually won games. Offense, was a little bit of a mission, but it was a great defense. It was fun. And you actually got to the playoffs. Maybe you won a game every once in a while. But this is just ridiculous. You know what I mean? And the offense, once again, cost them this game. Teddy Bridgewater throws a pick six, and Jason Sanders cut his ass. Make him walk home. We'll have to tolerate him for one more game and then just get rid of him already, because there's no way you need to bring back Jason Sanders. We don't need to see any more from Jason Sanders. And Mike McDaniel is obviously now putting himself, again, like I told you, next year, the microscopes will be out. The magnifying glasses will be out. They will be extra critical. They're already saying fire McDaniel. And right now, the fire McDaniel, get rid of Tua, the fire Chris Greer, all that stuff. None of this can be, although the Tua thing, I still say when you watch the quarterback play, right? No, anybody can run the offense, right? Because you just have the receivers and everybody will run it and no problem because, Dolphins come up with quarterbacks all the time, whatever, And you see Skylar Thompson and his accuracy is off. He got a little drive there at the end. That was nice, whatever. Overall, Teddy Two Gloves. What have I told you, right? He doesn't average 2 touchdowns a game. Right. And the Tyreek Hill was considered a run, not a touchdown pass. So, it's just, it is what it is. Teddy doesn't have it either. By the way, now, you want to say whatever you want about Tua. Okay? Say whatever you want about Tua. I don't know, but I remember in the offseason, Teddy's coming. He's going to take Tua's job. Teddy Bridgewater is more fragile than Tua Tagovailoa. Teddy Bridgewater can't even stay in a game. I mean, Jesus. Whether he went out on the other one for whatever reason, but here we go. You got a chance and you get some finger injury and now you're out. On a pick six, which, by the way, what are you doing getting in the way tackling? All you did was get a forearm. You got a face job off a forearm. What are you going to do, Teddy Two Gloves? You got to know who you are, man. I get it if you're Josh Allen and you want to lay the wood on somebody. Well, yeah, dude, you're a big guy. You get him at the right angle. You can put some, you can. Yeah, I get it. You're Culpepper. Somebody's returning an interception and you get an angle on him. Yeah, man, you're a big kid. Hell's to the yeah. Good for you. But you're Kyler Murray. You're Teddy Bridgewater. You're Drew Brees. You're Tua Tagovailoa. I don't want you making tackles. You're Dan Marino ain't making no tackles, and he's bigger than all those dudes. Dan Marino wasn't going to make no tackles. So you got injured because you were making a tackle. Like, really? Like, what are you going to do, dude? And do you know what your history is, Teddy? You know how many injuries you've had already? You're not a durable person. So now he goes there and he gets injured right away and he's out. You see those guys, they can't even come close to Tua passing. Okay? And we'll talk to Poupart tomorrow. Teddy got his whole week of practice and all that stuff. And, he didn't think there would be much of a drop-off, right? Right? So we don't misquote him, right? Not much of a drop. Oh, no, there was a drop-off like from 2021 stock market to 2020 stock market to 2022 stock market. So drop off like the crypto market in 2020 and 2021 to 2022. That's the kind of drop off there is. Bam. Appreciate it. Terrible season. And McDaniel did not prove to be an upgrade as a coach, unfortunately. He's an upgrade. You know what McDaniel is right now? He's an offensive coordinator trying to be a head coach. So we'll see. We'll see if he can figure this out and grow. I like him, so I'm not ready to give up on the guy, but I will say this. I told you, if he doesn't win one of the next 2 games, he's on double secret probation for me for next season. I'm sorry. I'm a Dolphins fan. I don't have that much patience for you. I'll give you your first year and your mistakes and this, that, and all that, and give you a break. But the following season, I need to see it. I need to see growth. So next year, Mike McDaniel has got to show me something. Okay? He's got to show me something because I'm almost convinced you're not even winning next week. With that offense, you just can't figure. And by the way, nobody can stay healthy. Here's the other thing, man. Did somebody out there kill people? Did somebody in the Dolphin organization commit some kind of crimes we don't know about? Are they like eating babies like QAnon has? Like some people are eating babies. Are they doing that in the bowels of Hard Rock State? What have they done over there? Who did Stephen Ross piss off in the real estate world? Is there a real estate, like, I don't know what happened? Did somebody do something there? I'd like to know, because our beloved Miami Dolphins can't get a goddamn break. Kendall Lamb goes out. You already got Armstead out. Fisher, who you signed, is out. Now you got Greg Little out there who's playing with a foot injury. What's it called? Javon Holland also got injured in this game. Like, it just doesn't stop, dude. Over and over and over. And by the way, having said all that, what was it, 23? So defense allowed 16 points. Did more than enough again to win the game. But this team is, my God, they have no luck whatsoever. And then Two Gloves gets injured. And you're like, oh my God, this is just, it never ends. This is, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure if this is the worst season ever of injuries, but it just seems like it was at the worst times ever. Everything from the offseason when you lost your first and third rounder, which, like, you're like, holy shit, now we lost a safety net for next year, an insurance policy, a way to build more capital and more draft, and more of a roster. Okay, that's gone. Okay, now Byron Jones is not going to report. Okay, now Trill Williams gets injured in training camp. Okay, then now it's Nick Needham, and it's, and today it was, X is on, our Armstead is on. What? Like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is the worst season ever. Emmanuel Ogbah, it's just, man, Eichenberg goes out. Supposedly, by the way, they didn't play too bad in the front, on the offensive line. Even though it was pieced up, they didn't play too bad. They did all right, actually. Considering what it is and what's going on, they actually didn't do that bad of a job. I got to look at it again, but it seemed, I can't say that it was the quarterbacks for being, you remember like last year and the year before that they couldn't block and it was a sieve. It wasn't like that. Teddy wasn't running around for his life the entire. There were a couple of times that Skylar had enough time that he was like trying to figure stuff out. And it's just because he's young. His accuracy is something he's got to work on big time, dude. And Teddy, wow, ball placement for Teddy. Also, on the, what was the, on the pass to Gesicki, that one was awesome because Jawan Bentley, the linebacker, number 8, had his hand, and Teddy put it right over him to Gesicki. That was really nice to the 5-yard line. That was a nice play by him. Teddy made a couple of nice throws, and that's kind of what you expect from Teddy. Let me explain something to you guys, okay? I'm gonna show you something, okay? I'm gonna show you something. Let me do something that I wasn't even thinking of doing this now, but I want you to all know why. While I think Teddy Bridgewater is a fantastic human being, and I've always said that. I think he's a terrific leader in a locker room. I think he's always been more of a backup player than anything else. But if you have him as your starter, then you have a really, really poor starter, unfortunately. Why? Because he's just limited. But I'm gonna give you a great example. In 2015, okay, Teddy Bridgewater had one hell of a year by his standards. He threw 16. He started 16 games, threw 14 touchdowns and 9 interceptions that year. Okay. And when you go back to that year in 2015, let me read the offense for you. Adrian Peterson with almost 1,500 yards. Jerick McKinnon, who plays well now, was a young backup at that time. Okay. And then at receiving, listen to this. Stephon Diggs, Mike Wallace, Cordarrelle Patterson, and Adam Thielen were all on that offense. Would you like me to repeat that again? Like Mike Wallace is where he belongs, like fourth, you know? Okay, you got Adam Thielen, you got Stephon Diggs, all these cats, right? You got talent actually on this offense. Kyle Rudolph was their starting tight end, had 500 yards that season and 5 touchdowns. Okay, look at the talent he had, the running back he had overall. And he started all 16 games, completed 65% of his passes, and he had 14 touchdowns in 16 games with that talent, that running game, that offensive line. And by the way, it's like I told you, the 2015 Vikings. I can actually do this. Watch this. I'm going to tell you the offensive line for the 2015 Minnesota Vikings. Okay, look at the talent around Teddy. Okay, here we go. Ready? I'm gonna give it to you. Here we go. Okay, there. Matt Khalil with his left tackle. Brandon Fusco left guard. Joe Berger was his center. Michael Harris was the right guard, and TJ Clemmings was the right tackle. Solid offensive line. You got Stephon Diggs. You got Mike Wallace. You got a young Adam Thielen. You got Cordarrelle Patterson. They actually had Charles Johnson on that team also. That's crazy. I didn't see that before. Probably didn't do much, I would imagine. But, man, I mean, loaded. And that was a good defense, too. Those were good Minnesota teams. He's never been an explosive player. That's why, and I know he's a local kid and all that stuff. That's why I was amused with a lot of the fans that thought Teddy would take over. And it's because you never watch Minnesota football. And even when you watch his stint with his stint with the Saints, where he won 5 games, he threw 9 touchdowns in those 5 games. He's not going to ever be an explosive quarterback, unfortunately. The good Lord did not bless him with enough ability to do that. And so that's what you see. You see a lot of drop-off. You saw the drop-off in accuracy. You saw the drop-off in ball placement. You saw the drop-off in the offense, the way it moves. There's a huge difference between Tua and what you have there. Skyler, can you work with him? Of course. But he's a couple years away. The kid's got to mature. He's got to, figure all this stuff out. He's still, if you see it, there are no anticipatory skills. It's more about seeing and reacting, not anticipating to what's going to end up happening. So he has to then count on his physical ability to try to rifle it in there. That's why in the scramble plays, it's a strong move for him because he can move around a little bit and he's got a nice arm. So if receivers like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Watt, all these kind of cats, Mike Gesicki, by the way, Mike Gesicki on that touchdown. Woo, doggy. And by the way, nice job by you, Mike McDaniel. Gesicki helping you out on multiple plays this week. You know why, Mike McDaniel? Because you freaking used him. That's why. Has nothing to do with Mike Gesicki. Has nothing to do with anything else. He'll make plays with Skylar Thompson. He'll make plays with Teddy Bridgewater, and he'll certainly make plays with Tua Tagovailoa. That's been you're failure, sir. If you had George Kittle, who was an incredible blocker and runner all over the place and catching everything, hey, guys, I can't play Gesicki because I've got this two-way tight end that fits my offense. But, yeah, I get it. You got a solid pass blocker. There's no doubt about that. But he is not even close to being dynamic like Mike Gesicki. Mike Gesicki, go back and look at that play. The awareness that Mike Gesicki had in that touchdown, right? Because he sees Tyreek Hill come to the corner of the end zone and he moves up. When he sees Tyreek move back to get more space, he moved right back into that corner. It was a beautiful thing. You need to go back and just watch that. And it shows you how Gesicki, in the middle of the action, has incredible awareness. It shows you his intelligence as a player. I don't need to tell you about his hands. I don't need to tell you that he's clutch. I don't need to tell you that he makes plays. We all may need to tell Mike McDaniel that because he's effed it up all year long by not using him. It's been very, 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 very disappointing on Mike McDaniel that he has proven to me. And by the way, today he ran more, which helped out in some of his scoring drives. And again, these are the things that have pissed me off about Mike McDaniel. His stubbornness has hurt his own team this season. And I hope he grows from it because he does have an excellent offensive mind. It's there. You can see it. I can see it. I want him to succeed, but he is going to continue to shoot himself in the foot if he continues to do the shit that he pulled off this year. That when you have a really good player, you don't use him. What? No sense. None. You're 8-3. Now you're 8-8. Oh my God. That's unacceptable at every level. You better learn, man. You better learn because you can stave. Look, you've already got people that are already questioning. They were questioning Mike McDaniel, how he looked. They were questioning because nobody else interviewed him. They were questioning him, and then he started to win. And he shows you clearly he has a terrific offensive mind. But now you got to find out, well, wait a minute. Okay, what else can you do? Show us that you're a well-rounded coach. And unfortunately, you had an opportunity today to really make an impact, and you failed big time. You have failed for 5 weeks now as a coach. I'll say 4. I'm not going to give San Francisco the loss to him. He designed it perfectly. Tua effed up that game, big time. Tua was off that day. I'm not going to give Tua the break, but I will be fair to McDaniel. I will ride him now for the last 4 weeks and blame him as one of the key components on why you have failed for 4 straight weeks. That I will say. He's been one of the common denominators in it. I hope he fixes it. I really do. I hope he fixes it. Okay? And by the way, if you need to fix your lawn and you want the right people, you need to call my friends at Cutter's Edge Pro. Go to cuttersedgepro.com. By the way, they have their own radio show on WIOD on Sundays. So check it out at noon on WIOD. And my guys, William and Mike, they do an amazing job at Cutter's Edge Pro. Go check it out, 954-472-0622, Dade, Broward, or Palm Beach counties. And the best thing about them, they are your total landscape solution. They do everything, lawns and landscape maintenance for medium to large HOAs and condominiums, corporate parks, large commercial building complexes in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. And, of course, they can take care of your home, too. And as you all know, you can take your home, your business to the next level. Why? Because when you add that landscaping, the lighting, the irrigation, all of that, the value in your home also takes off. That's the other thing. And do what we've done by redoing our backyard, which had no life whatsoever. And we added artificial turf for the dogs. We added plenty of landscaping, plenty of trees. We added a lot of shade. So that way a nice portion of the backyard has some shade. So all of a sudden it's a lot cooler than it is normally because of all the trees, which is just absolutely amazing. It's a great place now to hang out. I got a little putting green. They can install a putting green on your backyard. I've got one so I can work on the short game, all kinds of stuff, man. So check it out. Go to cuttersedgepro.com. And I tell you, when the artificial turf, the dogs, it's a blessing. Easy to maintain, will save you hundreds to thousands of dollars in the long run because you're not watering it every day and you're not cutting the grass every, 10 to 14 days in South Florida, especially in the summer months. Oh my God, you're cutting that thing like every 8 or 9 days, pretty much, because that thing is growing so fast. So call them, cuttersedgepro.com, 954-472-0622. Go to the website, cuttersedgepro.com, and check them out on Instagram at Cutter's Edge Pro so you can see a lot of the work that they do. It might give you ideas on what you want to do for your home. Call William, call Mike, and tell them that Big O sent you. I promise you, Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County listeners, they are going to take care of you. They're fantastic. CuttersEdgePro.com. All right, what else do we have here? New York Phinz says, you're absolutely happy that Gesicki touchdown defense is playing with 2-score lead. Gesicki is not a fit. Do you want McDaniel or Gesicki? What makes you think it's going to work? See, that's the problem with fans. Okay? Did I tell you to keep Gesicki? Did I tell you that to move forward? See, the problem in this world sometimes, a lot of times, some of you are so lazy that you just read the headline and you never read the story because the writer has nothing to do with the headline. And the headline could be misleading and it might not be what the story's all about, but you went on the headline and you were too lazy. And you, sir, you were too lazy to actually listen. I said he was hard-headed because he had a player on his team that he refused to use. At no point did I say, we're talking about 2023 and 2024 with Mike Gesicki. You got to pay attention, my brother. The theme was being hard-headed, abandoning the run, not using Gesicki, putting Braylon Sanders in a position that he wasn't ready to perform. Listen to the host. Okay, pay attention to your girlfriend, your wife. Actually listen to what they're saying, because it seems to me you might be getting in trouble with one of them if you're doing this with me. Because at no point, go listen to it, did I say the Dolphins should re-sign Gesicki and bring him back. All I said is you have a weapon on the field. And what I say to you, sir, is have you not seen Gesicki make plays in the last 2 weeks more than you have in the last 4 weeks before that? Yes. And why? Because they're using him. That's what I'm saying. Pay attention to what the host is saying. Because now you go off and you go tell your friend, and then, O's an idiot. He thinks they should just keep Gesicki now. He doesn't understand their offense, that they want an all-around tight end. But you didn't pay attention to me. Because then when I'm talking about the other tight end, I'm saying, yeah, he's a fantastic blocker, but he's not a dynamic pass catcher. So use the dynamic pass catcher. Listen. Let's start with the super chats. Sean, por favor, let's load it up. We need a 4-leaf clover and horseshoes. Help. Man of 1,005 holds. Please, dude. We have something in Spanish that we call for santeria. I think it's called un despojo, right? That's what they need. It's some of that black magic where you're exorcising demons or some crap like that. Yeah, that's what you need. Something's going on, bro. Something's going on with the and please don't tell me it's on an Indian burial ground because the Marlins have 2 championships. Okay? All right, so it's not about the home team losing or so. Something is wrong with the Dolphins. They messed with some mojo somewhere. Somewhere Tom Garfinkel drank Joe Boo's whiskey. Somewhere Stephen Ross had a black cat cross in front of him. Somewhere, somehow, I don't know. You tell me. Mike McDaniel shattered a mirror. I don't know. Somebody did something. I don't know what it is, but I'm with you, man, of 1,005 holds. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the love on the super chat. Oh, by the way, remember, you can do it on Cash App and Venmo. That is Cash Big O Show. Stephen M., thank you, sir. He donated a little Bitcoin. You know that's my favorite, Bitcoin on Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. And he says for some Bitcoin for the pain. Oh, yeah, Stephen. Today there's a lot of pain, my brother. A lot of pain. On Venmo, we got Adam Pink, sir. Thank you, sir, on Venmo, Cash Big O Show. Liking this Dolphins team is like being on death row, not counting the days to execution. Yes, you're right, Adam. Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. Kevin Beal, Big O, I'll get hate, but do not bring back Saunders. Poopart better eat his words. Not a big fall off without Tua. Bad game for Hill as well. Yeah, that you know, what are you gonna do? Remember, guys, no X or Chubb today. That's a combined like $30 million a year, and they still hung in there and limited them to 16 points on their own. Okay. Stephen Chapman, thank you for the love on Venmo. Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. He says, I owe everyone an apology. This is on me. I'm the idiot that said last week that we're finally being rewarded for our loyalty to the Dolphins. We are not. We're being kicked in the nuts again, yet again. We can't count on Tua to stay healthy, and we can't count on Teddy either. Yep. Amen. Amen. It just blows, dude. It just blows. That's what it does. It freaking blows. It hurts that this happens. Thank you all there. All right, go ahead, Sean. Next up, it is Rub-a-Dub-Dub, a man in a tub. Tua is the most durable QB for the Dolphins. Only QB on the team to start and finish a game this year. LOL. Yeah, he's right, actually. That's effed up. Well, he's certainly more durable than Teddy. Holy crap, Teddy barely. It's like the Eric Fisher thing. People were asking me about Eric Fisher for months and months. Well, he's retired. Well, go get him. And look, you went and get him and what? This is why none of that means anything. Next up, thank you, Rub-a-Dub-Dub. Leon Fresco. Once you realize this whole thing isn't on the level and the Miami Dolphins are the Washington Generals, it makes the games much more bearable. It's a good way of looking at it. I mean, I can't argue it, Leon. You're making it fun. Okay. Just can we get at least Meadowlark Lemon to be the quarterback against the Dolphins every week? At least that would be fun. Wasn't it Curly Neal that used to, I know he had the dribbling. Wasn't he the one that used to throw the full court shot all the time? He should be also the quarterback. Thank you, Leon. Appreciate you. Next up is Musa Hamadeh. Lions were 1-6. We're 8-3. Guess who's in the playoff spot? Even the Lions had more to cheer about the past 20 years. What an epic meltdown. Misery. Well, it's funny because really their best years are still the Wayne Fontes years. Okay. We're the Wanstead years. They're the Wayne Fontes years. Think about that. That's what's scary for the Lions and for the Dolphins. All right. Next up, Musa. Thank you. I appreciate you, man. Man of 1,005 holds. McDaniel went from Wanstead to Philbin. Yeah. Yeah, he's and flirting with Cam Cameron. Next up, Thank you, man of 1,005 holds. George Filosa. Right again, Big O. Sanders missed a field goal, ends up costing us. You told us at the end of the season we would need a kicker who is reliable. Well, they're going to have to either go draft one or sign another one. But they were able to find a good punter. Almost got injured today. What else is new for this team? And they're going to have to just find a kicker. I mean, it's nice to have one that you can have for like 7, 10, 12, 14 years, you know. Doesn't happen all the time. But, yeah, Miami's going to have to be switching. Thank you, George. I appreciate you. Next up, it is Justin Scheib. Greer needs to go. 3 first-round busts for 2020, 2 of being injury-prone. Then you sign an injury-prone backup QB, left tackle, and pass rusher. He hired Flo, traded a second for Rosen, all the while hitting 46% on draft picks since 19. Well, Greer's going to get the heat now. And the Tua thing has become a real bugaboo for him. In that draft, by the way, again, everybody does forget Brandon Jones is in that draft. By the way, another guy that, you know, this was kind of a year where you needed to see enough from him. Have we seen enough from Raekwon Davis? A lot of talent, but has not lived up to the draft status either. And he's from that same draft where the 3 first-rounders were at. So, you know, Brandon Jones right now is the most reliable pick out of all of them. But he is out for the year. Justin, thank you for the super chat, and nobody can argue with anything you're saying. You know, I'm a Chris Greer guy, but right now it's not a good look for anybody in the organization right now. Nobody's looking good right now. Nothing can be defended right now, unfortunately. You know, Tua's durability is the problem now going into the future. And then some of these picks that are not working out, and then the Chubb deal, whew, doggy. You make that deal, and it has been a bad deal this year, unfortunately. Chubb better come back next. He's going to come back on one hell of a fan's hot seat. He's got his money and all that. Dolphins are going to bring him back. But media and fans are going to get on his ass next year if he's not performing. Get ready. There's going to be a lot said about Bradley Chubb if he does not step up in 2023. So we shall see. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate your support, and impossible to argue anything you're saying right now. Next up, it is Frankie Fresco. The Dolphins have the most fragile QBs in the NFL. Well, I mean, it sucks, but no. Hey, listen, how about the whole team is just injury prone this year? It's just not the quarterbacks. The secondary has had so many injuries. When I saw Holland go out, I'm like, that's it. That's all I need. Great. They got to play Igbenogany a lot more. You know what I would do with Igbenogany? I would try to play him at safety instead. Teach him to play safety. I don't think he has it to ever be a corner. I just don't see it. I don't see the ball skills. I don't see the instincts. I just don't see any of the anticipation stuff that you could tell he mentally knows what route is coming and where the receiver's going, and he's right on his hip. I rarely see that kind of stuff from him. I maybe he's better in space. Maybe he's better seeing everything in front of him instead. I don't know. Maybe that's his future. But he has no future whatsoever. Next up, it is Jeffrey Creighton. Big mistake for getting Gesicki to pass block all year. Exactly. Forcing Gesicki. Yeah, it's just stupid. Stupid. Know who you are, coaches and players, and play accordingly. Tua, know who you are. You can't run around and take contact, bro. You need to make decisions quickly. You need to handle that football like a hot potato, and you can do it. In football, it's made that way. It's made for you to get rid of it quickly. There are only a couple places you can go pre-snap. You know it already. You see the coverages. And then if you are prepared, you know exactly what coverages they may spin out of from there. So you have to have your anticipatory skills ready to go, and he's more than capable of doing that. But you got to understand who you are, and coaches have to understand who they are too. And they have to understand the players and say, Mike Gesicki is a hell of a talent. I have to find a way to get him on the field. And he failed. Really bad. Thank you, Jeffrey. Appreciate you. Very, very depressing part about McDaniel this year is some of the stubbornness. Preston Sampson, thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. Remember, you can also send it in through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. We do that there because we get the whole donation there. On YouTube, we get 70%. YouTube takes 30%. They make enough money as it is. So on Cash App or Venmo, we get the whole thing. Next up, thank you, Preston. Appreciate it. It is Jason Dow. Penalties, not getting lined up, players looking lost. That's on coaching. Team seems to lack discipline. Frustrating season after so much hope. Plus the injuries, Jason. You have so many injuries, you're putting in new people. And when you're constantly switching, like you switched at right tackle, at right guard today, left guard today, I'm sorry, then you have more change. And then you have another left tackle, and that's more change. And then you have a new safety come in. That's more change. And then corners throughout the year, and that's more change. It's a pain in the ass. But yeah, hey, Duke Riley didn't know that he was that's his responsibility. And then by the time he figures it out, it's too late, and the receiver has the jump on him, and it's over. Yeah. Coaching and players. Yeah, we saw too much of it on offense, especially a lot of it on offense, where guys weren't lined up right and didn't run the right route, and it happened quite a bit. McDaniel, young coach, he wasn't perfect. He's got a lot to work on. Jason, thank you for the super chat. Next up is Nano Filmmaker. Big O, we have to trade for another QB, or every year with Tua is going to be like this. Yeah, but you're not going to be able to just trade. You don't have a lot to trade at all. You have 3 picks in the top 100, but none of them are in the first day. Okay, so your second and third rounders, that's not going to get you really much. You don't have that kind of. If you can sign one straight up, maybe that might be an option to bring in, because Tua's lack of durability opens the door for you, and he has to understand that. Unfortunately. Nano, thank you. But it's not as simple as you make it out to be. 25 years. Tua is still way better than anything you've gotten since Marino. Somebody needs to get fired. The same old, same old. Well, Danny, you might get your wish. You never know. It's a crazy business. That's a possibility. There's a lot of people to blame here. Danny, thank you for the super chat, my brother. Marcelo Cambises, Big O, happy New Year, buddy. What are the hopes for postseason scenarios after this loss? Well, we got to see what happens today with the Jets and Seattle. And right now, by the way,
hey, yo.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know if you heard me. Right now the Patriots are we're in the hunt. The Bills need to beat the Patriots. We need to beat the Jets. That's basically what it comes down to.
Well, the Jets are losing to the Seahawks right now.
Yeah, the Jets are pretty much out now.
Yeah, 17-3 right now.
Yeah, it's between us and the Patriots now.
The great Mike White, by the way, 6 of 11 for 70, 7 of 12 for 79 yards and an interception. Some of you people out there, you're so silly when it comes to this stuff. Just because the guy's local, you just fall in love with him. And okay, no, he must be he's the real deal. No, he's not, bro. Look at him. That first game, he had a couple touchdowns. Since then, it hasn't been much. There's been some yards and all that, but nothing. He doesn't move the ball much. Just a guy. He's a nice kid, made it to the NFL, fantastic, but not a starting quarterback in this league. But it'll be tough, Marcelo. You're not going to be able to trade, but maybe sign somebody. That might be an option. You may have no choice. All right, next up, Bobby Evans. Bobby, thank you, my brother. Pretty bad when Biden looks smarter than our coach. Ouch. Wow, that is bad. Well, but hey, listen. Our coach is not falling asleep all the time. Our coach isn't trying to shake hands with invisible people. Now, if Mike McDaniel starts acting like that, then we've got issues. But you are right. He might be a little smarter than McDaniel, which is sad. Joe Biden, Gerald Ford, Part 2. Oh, man. He falls just like Gerald Ford. Think about it. I mean, there's a lot of similarities with Gerald Ford and Biden. You know, it's like the same dude, you know. But hey, we're consistent, bro. We know how to pick really sorry-ass presidents all the damn time. Thank you, Marcelo. Appreciate it. And we've picked a lot of sorry-ass coaches. Mike McCoy is in. Oh, Borregales. Everybody says Borregales, Mike. Then nobody signs him. So I don't know what it is, you know. So nobody, you know. And Sanders is already under contract. You're going to take a cap hit. I'm sure they're just going to finish the season with him and then move on. That's probably what it is. It's just like left tackle. Go sign this guy. Go sign that guy. Fisher was one of them. He was never the answer. At corner, go get Janoris Jenkins and Joe Hayden, and nobody did. And, you know, so because nobody got him, they must be the answer. So Borregales, nobody wanted him, but he must be the answer. Meanwhile, all kinds of kickers have either gotten injured or whatever throughout the league, and nobody signed Borregales. So it's not just a Miami thing; it's an NFL thing. Trey Mateer, hate to say it, but it looks like the Dolphins going to draft another 25-year-old QB in Bennett. Going to be a Finn, but man, I'm going to miss Mike G next year. Mike G. Oh, Mike Gesicki, I see. Yeah, maybe. And maybe a Bennett in the second round, third round. That's something that could happen. I can see them getting a quarterback with those picks. That's where a Malik Hooker. I love the idea that Manny Navarro gave Malik Hooker. Plus, he's injured, which gives it away. We're definitely going to draft him. Thank you, Trey. Appreciate you. Leon Fresco. McD must hire a disciplinarian assistant coach next year. No, that's not going to happen, Leon. That's not going to happen. He's not. When I asked him about giving the quarterback more flexibility in play calling, he was like, well, then what's my job? So you're stuck with a check with me. You get this play, and you can then run that play off of this play if you don't like this play. It might be a pass to pass, a pass to run, a run to run, a run to pass, whatever combination it is. But you're going to only have that other play. Meanwhile, you know, like back in the day, you could call different plays and change it up. They don't do that anymore. They don't do that. Those days are done with quarterbacks being able to run their own offenses and shit like that. Let's see. Birthday salami. That's what she said. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you, birthday salami. DA Truth. Thank you, Sanders. Jason Sanders. The spread. He's talking about the spread. For sure. Okay. Right? That's what it's got to be, because you kept it within the, what was it, 2.5? Oh, no, but even if Jason Sanders hits, you still win. I don't get that one. Wait a minute. Or did he tease down the Patriots? I wonder. I don't know. See, I don't know. I don't know now. Now you've got me confused on what that means. Alan Gispert, I'm telling you, it's the OB curse. I agree with you. They should sign Gesicki. Just kidding. LOL. Yeah. The OB curse. They left the OB, so they suck. Okay. All right. I can go with that when I'm not going with the Indian burial ground because the Marlins have 2 titles there. So not doing that. Clee Torres, thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. You, sir, as always, been around for a while. Appreciate you. Marcelim, thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. Prefer Flores and his 10,000 OCs over McMoron. See, Mike, unfortunately, Mike started as the sweetheart, and right now he is going to have to endure some criticism. Jeffrey Anthony, thank you for the love on Venmo. That's Cash Big O Show, Cash Big O Show. Would you be surprised, keyword, if McDaniel got fired and Peyton and Brady came in shocked? Absolutely shocked. I don't think that'll happen. I think, if anything, those guys are going to go to New Orleans, where he kind of already has a lot of his staff in place because some of them stayed there. He has a lot of the front office people that he worked with. They need the quarterback and they need the head coach. They own his rights. The part you guys don't seem to understand is Brady's a free agent, but you got to trade for Peyton. Miami doesn't have anything to trade. They're going to have to trade like future first-round picks, and even if you bring Brady here, they still need stuff. I know the part I don't think you got, and they don't want picks, first-rounders like 3 years from now and stuff. That's not what they want. You don't have multiple picks in the same year. Those days are done now. Okay? So you've had your shot at that. Now you've got to rebuild that, but that takes a couple of years to kind of recycle and try to figure things out and try to create that. I told you you had to trade X, right? Remember, 18 months ago. I told you, trade X now. I would have brought in more picks. But what the hell do I know? Right? What else do we have here? Remember, Cash App or Venmo. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash Big O Show. And remember, you can make a Bitcoin donation, as always. What else do we have here? Next up, it is Scott Zeiss. I'd take a flyer on Anthony Richardson on day 2. You know, that you may have to do stuff like that. Tere. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Next up. That's it. All right. We are caught up with Tere. All right. There we go. Oh, thank you all, as always. Big O, I guarantee you Ross will fire Greer McDaniel by the end of the season and will bring Sean Payton and Brady and trade Tua. I bet you, yeah, well, the good thing is you don't have to bet anything, bro. Nobody's tracking what you're saying. So none of us are going to remember or go back to doing it. So that's the beauty of all the wackiness that you guys do sometimes with your crazy predictions. Toby, thank you for the love in the super chat. Teams usually don't fold in December like this unless they're quitting on the coach. Not the case here, but Mike D might not be a leader of men. Well, see, Toby, here's where nobody could argue with you right now. Because it's fair game now. It's fair game to question anything and everything about Mike McDaniel. That's what he gets for being 8-3, and now they've lost 5 in a row. And they lost another game that they easily could have won. But his offense, once again, failed the team. Once again. Didn't get it done. It's been the constant in every single one of their losses this year. The offense has been the difference in why they lose the game. The defense, not very good. By the way, it seems like Omar, I know he has a problem with memory. He makes it sound like I've been talking up the defense when I've never talked up the defense. All I've said is I know what they are, but a lot of you out there don't know what they are, and you're expecting more from something that isn't special. And I keep telling you they're not special, yet they keep you in every single game, no matter what. They lose all kinds of people and they stay in the game. And it's up to you, offense. But as great as McDaniel's offensive mind is, it's still not there in being able to put it all together. Down in and down out, quarter in, quarter out, game in, game out. There's too many inconsistencies. And the fact you've watched what Gesicki's done in 2 weeks with limited play, and it shows you how he has failed to put his team in a successful position. McDaniel said Xavier Howard, Teron Armstead, and Bradley Chubb all tried and were ruled out about the same time. This time we're pretty ominous because the GM and told me we were 0-3 on that one. What else do we have here? Let's see. McDaniel says he is learning as a first-time head coach. Things include how to address the team, but he is confident and motivated. This is my niche in the world to try to help guys get out of this. Well, you need to get yourself out of this too, my brother. McDaniel says that this roster was capable of winning today. No shit. Even though he agrees this is up there in terms of injuries, creating a challenge to roster depth that he's been a part of, there are not excuses being made, though I can point out an astounding number of key injuries. Yes, I would agree with that. McDaniel says he felt more angry than sad after today's loss because the Dolphins fell short of expectation. Added that nobody is adding an asterisk to this loss just because of the injuries they've sustained. They feel like they've had opportunities to win and didn't execute. Amen. Amen. Your starting quarterback threw a pick six, dude. You lost by 2 points. Your kicker missed 3 points. You lost by 2. That's a 10-point swing by the Miami Dolphins. That's an 8-point game then instead. It's the offense. It's always the offense. I keep telling you it's always the offense. Let's see. What else do we have here? All right. Super chat. Paul V. I don't want to see Sherfield or Craycraft or any secondary receiver anymore on the field. Use Gesicki and Wilson. They are proven talents. Sherfield's made some catches, bro. He's done a pretty good job. John Rouse is in the house. Thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. Aliens landed at the stadium site in 1967. That's their jinx. Okay, I'll take that. Stranger things. The truth is out there. Stephen Rowell. Stephen, thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. Very nice of you. Broche, thank you, sir. Or Broches. Thank you, man. John Rouse says, another super chat by John Rouse. True alien story, Crestview Elementary students and faculty saw it. Military even called hundreds of witnesses. Well, all right. We'll take it. We'll take it. So what you're telling me is there's an Area 51 under the stadium. Okay. We'll do that. We'll go with that. I'll take anything at this point. Now, the aliens affect only football. Is it the problem that baseball has wooden bats? So if they had aluminum bats, then their radio signals would affect the baseball players. Is that what you're telling me? Okay. Aliens probably helped the Astros win one year with the trash can. It's kind of, metalish. So the aliens send the signal, help them cheat. I can see that happening. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Dave Wanstead, Nick Saban, Cam Cameron, Tony Sperano, Joe Philbin, Adam Gase, Mike McDaniel equals trash Dolphins coaches. Anybody can argue with that? No, not really. Unfortunately, we can't argue with it. And Mike McDaniel is now, what a shame, right? You build up some stuff and then you tear it all down within a couple of weeks. Gregory Salgado, thank you for the love in the super chat. I say this team needs one more year together. Keep everything but Sanders. This is a good core with lots of talent, just needs time and review together. I think that's what will happen. I think there'll be a couple tweaks to this roster because they got to get a middle linebacker, man. You got to find yourself somebody that I don't know what the free agent situation is at middle linebacker. I hope that they can find one because they need one badly. To be quite honest, they need a guy that can run, man. Every time you're playing these athletic quarterbacks, they're running all over you. You need to have a middle linebacker that's nasty that can run sideline to sideline. Somebody that can help you patrol that middle of the field and help against some of these running quarterbacks. That's one thing. You're going to need to fix your secondary, right? You got to find out where everything is health-wise with a lot of these guys. You're going to part ways with Brandon Jones. You got to bring back one more year. You'll probably get rid of him after next season. That's your window to buy him out and get out. So that's kind of the plan. So you got to get X healthy. And I would like to see X healthy next year. At this point, what else is left? You know what I mean? You're not going to take another brutal cap hit by letting him and X go. You can't by letting Byron Jones and X go. That would be too much. So you probably will hang on. Hopefully he can put together, since he's probably going to be a free agent, he's going to try to put together a pretty good season. So there'll be motivation there. Okay, remember that. That's the good thing for X. He knows he's going to be released. So he either plays his ass off so this team keeps him for another season at whatever salary they have set, or they're going to release him and somebody else has got to pay him because they're going to want a corner because they think, whatever. He's a veteran corner, but they'll give him good money for a year or two, and then, it is what it is. But you've got to make some changes and upgrade this team. You got to find yourself another quarterback. As much as I like Tua and I believe in Tua, the player, my only concern from when he was drafted, that was the reason why I was terrified of Tua, was his injury history. That's the one thing that I did not trust of him. You know what I mean? Because how can you trust durability with him? And that's been the problem throughout his Dolphins career. But it's not playing. The kid can play an incredibly high level. So I have no doubt this guy can be a star in this league. But if you can't stay on the field, you got no shot of doing anything here. You're just going to build up a bunch of injuries and beat up your body and, make some money, and that's it, and you're out. But you're not going to accomplish shit. And so we'll find out. But you have to get another quarterback. It can't be a Teddy Bridgewater. You actually have to really get somebody that is pretty close to being a threat to taking the job. I'm dead serious about that. You cannot go in with somebody like Teddy, who's clearly, some of you don't know that, but I mean, some of us actually have figured it out. You can't go in it with a guy like Teddy. You need something even better than Teddy. So I don't know if you can convince a Garoppolo to come here. I doubt it, probably. I don't think you can convince a Derek Carr to come here, but stranger things have happened. But you're going to have to try to find somebody that's available and bring them here to compete. I was thinking about this. want to laugh, but although he's kind of tailed off the last couple of weeks, but he's had a really good year. For him, it's been amazing. You can bring Geno Smith back, the Miami kid, to back him up. But again, I don't think that's the answer either. If Geno starts, I don't believe, Geno did his thing this year, but, I don't know. I think it's like one of those years where you've been at it long enough that things kind of go your way, but it's not something you're really going to match or become. And so, I gotta call it like I see it. I wouldn't think that would be the answer, but you got to come up with somebody. When you turn the page next year, you're going to have to fix some things and upgrade certain things, but you're going to have to find a quarterback. Dolphins Wizard says same old Dolphins. That's it. No, I've never turned on Tua, my brother. I've always been a Tua guy as a player. But again, people hear what they want and then they go into, ridiculous directions, and that's fine. You gotta protect yourself from Tua's body, unfortunately, because he cannot stay healthy, unfortunately. Let's see, what else do we have here? Okay. All right, Gregory, thank you, by the way. Okay, so it's Steven. Okay, win or lose next week. Biggest collapse will be capped next week because if Phinz win, Patriots will win. It's too much to ask to have both games go our way for fans of this cursed franchise. Well, what am I going to disagree with that? Let's see. Birthday Salami. That's what she said. Big O, do you think FO/McD survive if they win next week but miss the playoffs? I think everybody survives one more year. That's what I think. Okay? Everybody survives one more year. And then that will be kind of the, okay, end all be all. You guys are done if you don't do anything. And we're blowing everything up and starting completely fresh. I think that's what's going to end up happening. Okay? Hopefully they succeed and everybody stays, but because I'd like McDaniel to succeed. I really would. I'm rooting for McDaniel. Got to question his stuff now, but I am rooting for him. Alex Gisbert. Hey, man, I root for Tua, but I've never really believed in his body. I've never believed that his body could hold up in this league, but, they drafted him. I told everybody, hey, man, he can play. Kid can be a star, but he's got to be able to stay healthy. And that's his problem, staying healthy. Alex says, Mark Anything would be a much better coach once he stops his concert tours. Oh, Mark Anthony, not anything. I get you. Okay. Apparently he puts on a good show. I'm not necessarily a Mark Anthony fan of his music, but I'm told that he actually puts on a really good show. Toby Marmorino, only thing left is trying to middle my way out of my bet over 8.5. Oh, yeah, dude, I lost it with you. Oh, we're losing it next week. They're going to lose that game probably. Hope we're favorites next week so I can take the Jets as an insurance win for both. There you go. There you go. Yeah, we're losing that one. I thought for sure my 8.5 was money in the bank. What an idiot I am, counting on my Dolphins. Humble legend. Culpepper to Cutler, Feely to Fitzpatrick, Brissett to Bridgewater, Tannehill to Tua. Why do I punish myself by loving my Dolphins? Humble legend, because we're fans, bro. We're going to be here no matter what. We're going to complain. We're going to bitch. We're going to say we've had enough. I can't stand this guy. I hate that they drafted that guy. Why is this guy the coach? Why is that guy the GM? Hire that guy. Sign this guy. And then we're back next week. And we're back for training camp, and we're tracking free agency, and we're tracking the draft and all that good stuff. Come on, guys. You know how the story's played. Okay? We complain, but in the end, we love our Dolphins and we love football so much that we come back and we, hope for a different season. And I get it. And it's really easy to, I guess, switch over to the Kansas City Chiefs right now or the Buffalo Bills, but that's not what a fan is supposed to do. A real fan, that is. It's not about like, all right, I'm going to become a Bengals fan now. Yeah, no. Adam Outdoor Bushcraft. Seems like the same thing every year. We are cursed. Amen. Amen to that one. Amen to that one. Thank you, sir. Leon Fresco, one positive, haven't been blown out this year. Why? Why, Leon? Why haven't you been blown out this year? Anybody? Come on. There's 1,200 people now. What am I going to say? Why haven't you been blown out this year? Please answer that question. Somebody. Let's see. Somebody, please. That's right, Abel. Keep you in. Dolphins Wizard defense. That's right. That's right. Defense hangs around because the defense keeps you in every game. Very good, boys and girls. Now explain that to the other people that don't understand common sense. An absolutely injury-riddled defense that has practically no secondary left. They have very little pass rush. They have probably bottom 5 linebackers in the NFL, right? And they keep you in every single game. And they never get blown out. Man, isn't that interesting? So interesting. Really is. Justin Herbert, he throws 370 yards. 1 touchdown. 1 touchdown. But whatever. How are the Heat doing? They suck, Caesar. But this is not time to talk about the Heat. At least they got a win yesterday against sorry-ass Utah. AAC Home and Property LLC. Thank you for the love on the super chat. Wait a minute. So hold on a second. We got people like, where's this podcast guy? Oh, I lost it already. Some guy had some podcast or something. I don't know. It was like some funky name there. Thank you all out there. So AAC Home and Property LLC, gets himself a nice commercial in there. Way to go. Nice job, buddy. That's good business. That's strong business on your part there. Okay. When you want to become like a permanent sponsor, give us a ring. Call us on the business line, 786-754-4664. 20 million downloads this year. Let's go. Join us. If you are a business, by the way, and want to be a part of our platform, and you want a great way to market your business and your branding and great way to get new customers, 786-754-4664 is the business line. That's only business, ladies and gentlemen. That is not a request line or talk sports or anything, because it's all about sales there. That's the only people that are going to answer. Okay, so if your business wants to be a part of ours, please subscribe to the show. If you're watching, we want to get to 20,000 subscribers. Please smash the hell out of the like button. Also, very, very important. A couple of things. You saw Skyler, obviously, struggled in this game at times, had a nice drive towards the end. Teddy, probably too brittle. And let me tell you, this was a very expensive game for Teddy Bridgewater, because being brittle and not being very effective, just being serviceable, this also kind of hurts him in the open market too. So he's going to be also maybe viewed as a bottom end backup, not even a top end backup. I think those days, I think some of you have to, and the media is also very guilty of this. I think you also have to start getting to where he really is, and he is really not one of the better backups anymore. Okay, his physically, he's just too limited. The missed field goal, you saw it. Sanders is pretty much okay. One, you don't bring Teddy Bridgewater back. He's not good enough to be your backup. You need somebody even better than him to be a backup, because you need somebody that can really somewhat challenge Tua, but not really take his job. Well, I mean, if you can do that, that would be amazing. But somebody that's actually really capable. The missed field goal, you got to find yourself a kicker now. Okay? Enough's enough already. You can tolerate it for another game, and if you, by some miracle, back into the playoffs, whatever. But bottom line is, you must part ways with Jason Sanders. Or he takes a complete pay cut that he comes back to, compete for an open job. Although I'm almost at the point that I'm so uncomfortable with him, I'd be uncomfortable to bring back Jason Sanders. I kind of think you need somebody new. So I hope they're able to do that. Some of the issues that we saw in today's game. By the way, Kader Kohu, my boy, did not have a good game today. He made some mistakes there in that game too. He got beat a couple times there also. Noah Igbenogany, we talked about it in the pregame show. He's done. There's nothing there. The best case scenario for him is that he comes back, and maybe the Dolphins bring him back because he's under contract, and keep him around through training camp and see if he figures anything out. And if he doesn't, you just cut him when you get down to 75 or 53 or whatever. But he's done. He's not going to make it next year. It's over for him. He has had more than enough time. I really believe he should move to safety. I think he might have a better chance at safety. I think he has no chance to be a corner. His instincts are just terrible. Noah Igbenogany just goes down in history as one of the worst Dolphin quarterbacks, right up there with J.B. Brown, right up there with Paul Langford, with Jerry Wilson, with Jason Allen, those kind of corners that we've talked about over the last 35, 40 years that have been absolutely terrible, terrible draft picks. Noah Igbenogany follows in the footsteps of Jason Allen. Okay? Guys that were just so bad that they were an incredible liability for their teams. And all those guys I talked about were incredible liabilities for their teams. Jerry Wilson brought heartache to Dolphin fans all over. Paul Langford was one of the most frustrating corners I've ever seen in my life because he was supremely talented, could run with anybody, but could never find the football. J.B. Brown, my God. I'm bringing back names. You guys know it. And I'm giving you some newer names. And this is what's happened. And he is now the newest name that goes in this era is Noah Igbenogany as just an absolute terrible, terrible, terrible football player at this level. Great kid, and he's trying, and God bless him. And I know he's an outright supreme character guy. I understand all of that. But terrible. What do we got going on? Okay. All right. The boys got the links, Sean, just in case. So we get them going. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Paul Langford had a 44-inch vertical leap, but unfortunately, we never saw it. Yeah. Jamar Fletcher, another one that goes there for sure. That's the one that came before Jason Allen. So yes, right? Yes. And then Jerry Wilson before that, or Jerry Wilson just, no, maybe Jerry Wilson just after that. But yeah, bad. It's really, really bad. Poupart is on Mondays. He'll be on tomorrow. Today we will have Marcel Louis Jacques and we will have Joe Shad on. Okay. Sanders is closing in on quickly on the Uwe von Schaman yips. Yeah. Yeah, he's right there. He's already there. He's already there. It's von Schaman and Jason Sanders are two of a kind right now. All right, so we talked about the injuries, obviously. We're going, by the way, we will be headed out to the Senior Bowl, and we will start our off-season. The only good thing, by the way, is that we delayed a couple of weeks the draft talk. But obviously the draft talk now is going to pick up, even though they don't have a first rounder. They still have a couple of picks in the second and third rounds. So they've got some selections there. They will have opportunities to improve the team. You can get some players there. So, and you can even maybe draft a young quarterback. There's going to be several quarterbacks, and some of them are project guys that are going to drop to the second round. They might be, interested in one. And I got to say, Manny Navarro, because I got to give him the credit. I wasn't really thinking about it, but he gave a great idea with Malik Hooker from Tennessee because of the injury, and he's injured, which perfectly fits the Dolphins. That would be interesting. Draft that kid, and you can develop him, and he's the kind of quarterback now that can move around and throw and work a little bit on the accuracy and all those kind of things. But we're going to start doing more of our draft talk moving forward into that direction in the next week or two. We'll probably start, doing a lot of that because we got one more game. But I get it. There's still like this inkling of hope and all that good stuff. But still, whatever. We'll try to get that going. But we got to now focus on the off season and start figuring everything out. We'll go to the combine also, and we'll cover everything in the combine. So we'll be out there like we've had. I haven't been to the combine in 3 years because of the pandemic and everything. I have not gone 3 straight years. Last year, it wasn't really back to complete, so I kind of held off. And then the other 2 years were the pandemic years. So I haven't been there myself in 3 years. I haven't been to the Senior Bowl in 2 because I went to the Senior Bowl 3 years ago, and then the pandemic hit right after. So I was able to get the Senior Bowl in before the pandemic. So this year, we're going to go to the Senior Bowl, and then we'll go to the Combine, and then obviously we'll have our draft shows also here on the channel. We'll hopefully tell you where we're going to hold it. Hopefully we will be at a bar somewhere in South Florida for, I would imagine, definitely night number 2. But maybe we'll do the first round for fun for a couple of hours, have some fun with it, even though, because you never know. You never know what happens. Why are Dolphin players so fragile? I don't know, my brother. Maybe it's something in the water in Miami Gardens and Davie for a few years there. I have no idea. It's a frustrating thing, and I feel for everybody because we're a lot of us are in the same boat. That we want the team to succeed, but they can't find a way to overcome all of this stuff. So Dolphins don't do well out of the water. Greer has gambled on some injury-prone players. Yep. And look, Teron Armstead has fought the injuries pretty much all season. And today, although I gotta say today, even with the injuries, I thought the line did all right. Considering everything, I thought they held up pretty well. I don't know how you guys view it, but I thought they did all right. You know? Remember, Cash Big O Show on Cash App or Venmo. That is Cash Big O Show. Let's see. Jeffrey Anthony, thank you for the love on Venmo. He says, is McDaniel Adam Gase with a better personality? This all seems familiar. I guess TBD. You know what I mean? It's here's the thing for all of us, okay, as Dolphin fans. And even me as a media member, all right? Because even as a media member, you know, you're supposed to be stoic and not have rooting interest and all that BS. And how am I not going to have rooting interest? I'm born and raised here. I've been here my entire life. All I know is the Dolphins and the Canes. All I know is the Heat. All I know is the Strikers before we had, what's it called? The Fusion, and now Inter Miami. You know, I'm a Miami guy through and through. So this is hard for all of us, right? Because you want to like Joe Philbin, and you want to like Cam Cameron, and you want to like Adam Gase, and you want to like Brian Flores. And you're rooting for Nick Saban and Bill Parcells and Jimmy Johnson to succeed. We do want you to be special because that's what Jimmy Johnson promised us, that they're going to be special. And that's what we want. We want you to be special. We're rooting for you. So we pour our hearts, our emotions into it. We give you our faith, right? And we hope that you are able to succeed so we can kind of cash in. It's almost like, what should I pick? It's like gold. Gold is like one of the worst investments out there. It hasn't moved for over 10 years. It was at 1,700 10 years ago, and it's still at 1,700. So nothing's changed. And it's just one of those things, like you invest all this money and you keep buying gold, and you bought gold 10 years ago, and you keep buying and you keep buying and you keep buying, and it never goes up. And you're like, whoa, what happened, dude? Like I keep putting money in. Isn't it supposed to like give me some percentages? And am I supposed to make some kind of money? It's not happening. And so we invest our emotions, and we invest our money, and we invest in travel and tickets and shirts and hats and jerseys and bobbleheads and all kinds of stuff. And then our hearts are broken. And it's tough, man. It's tough because it's no fun to take the negative angle of it and just say, well, that's it. It's going to be a failure right from the get-go. I try not to. I did it with Joe Philbin because I knew people in the Green Bay organization that were like, yeah, he's not the guy. And they're like, yeah, no, we're not sad that he's gone. He's a solid coach, but he's not the guy to be a head coach. And I told everybody, and obviously I was like a hater and all that, but I want to like Gase. And I did the first year. And I want to like Flores. And I did the first year. And I want to like McDaniel. And I did the first year. And I want to like Sperano. And I did the first year. And, I can't say we liked Cam Cameron in the first year. We were probably off that Cam Cameron bandwagon pretty quickly. Because that went that went south like really fast. I want to like Dave Wannstedt, one of my favorite people that I've covered. I don't have a great relationship with Dave Wannstedt, okay? Because obviously I had to be objective about a lot of the things that went on. But that is one dude, what a great human being he is. Really good man. really meant well. He wanted to win badly, just a really good dude. And what are you going to do? And we all want to like these guys, and we all want to invest our emotions, and we all want to root for them. And it's the toughest ride to stay on. And it's really easy to get off of it. Why? Because the ride has been so bad for so many years. The roller coaster has not been upgraded. They don't maintain it much. It's the wood is getting a little bit more creaky as you go up, and then you're coming down. You're feeling more of a rough road on the coaster. Wood isn't treated the same way right now, and all that stuff. You got to do that in order, if you're going to have that coaster running and humming and maybe not killing anybody, you got to have it, the right way. And just never happens, man. It's always a broken down roller coaster. Somebody's falling off the roller coaster. So it's breaking down at the top of the peak at 8-3. And then it just, everybody's got to walk down the other side of it because maintenance guy had to climb up there. It's not good, man. It's not good. It's like some of these electric cars that are having battery issues and they're getting on fire. That's what it seems like. We're cruising. We don't need any gas. Yeah, baby. It's the modern way. All right. I got my electrical vehicle. All right. Yeah. 2 years. Fire. And there's a fire in your car. You come out. That's my car. And it's a ball of fire. That's kind of what it is. It's hard to invest your emotions. And so it gets so many of you jaded. So you're already pissed at the team and pissed at Ross and pissed at Greer and pissed at McDaniel and pissed at Tua and pissed at Bradley Chubb and pissed at Byron Jones. And, your anger is all over the place. Your emotions you're hurt. How many of you spent a ton of money traveling this year to see a team? How many of you spent a ton of money on season tickets? How many of you spent money on hats and shirts and jerseys and all kinds of stuff? A crap ton of you. And because you believe in your team, you love your team, it's hard, man. It's hard. And then you fall off that horse, and then they ask you to get back on again. And the season ticket guy is calling you, hey, it's time to renew for 2023. Are you as excited as I am? No, you're excited about my commission. I'm not excited about the team. And it's hard. I get it. It's not, look at the Detroit Lions fans. They haven't won anything since the 50s. It's like the Browns. They haven't. You talk about the Dolphins. Look at the Browns and the Lions. And right now, you're kind of jealous of what's gone on with the Lions, right? Because they've been winning lately, whereas the Dolphins have been losing lately. The Lions started in the hole. The Dolphins started in the stars. Now the Lions have climbed up to, a little the stratosphere, and the Dolphins are now crashing to the ground. It's rough, man. I feel for you all out there. I feel for you all because I share your pain. That's something that outside of maybe Joe Rose, there aren't a lot of guys in the media left that really are rooting for the Dolphins. Most of the media people in this town are from out of town. So they didn't grow up here, and so they don't have any affinity to the teams here. It's very few people that really grow up here and really care about the teams, overall. So it's rough, man. And I feel I can't blame any of you for any of your pain and your rage and where you want to direct it. If you want to direct it at Stephen Ross, at Chris Greer, at Mike McDaniel, your frustrations with Tua. I understand it all. I understand it all. And I really, really feel for the kind of dedication it takes to, like for a Marlins fan, and some of us are Marlins fans, we don't care. It's that point because we know they don't care. So we know they can't, they have no money, they can't try. So there's no expectations on our end. So we don't have to invest our emotions. We don't have to invest our money. So the stuff that we work hard to produce, the money, the discretionary income, you don't use it for the Marlins. They've never earned it, unfortunately. But for the Dolphins, they have their history, but the difference is they care. Oh, they're trying. When you get Parcells, you're trying to win. When you get Jimmy Johnson, you're trying to win. And when you trade for Ricky Williams or Ndamukong Suh, whether, it was a stupid trade, but you're making the effort. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, you're literally trying to win. And that's exciting for the Dolphin fans. In the midseason, you make the move for Chubb and Wilson, and you love the moves. And the Wilson move was the only one that worked out. The Chubb one has been an outright disaster. But you get excited because they go in Tyreek Hill and they go get Armstead and they go get Connor Williams. And it's pretty impressive that they've been this aggressive. It's rough, man. It's rough. I feel for you. I hope they fix it one day and figure it out. Has McDaniel done enough to count this season as a positive? I say no, not even close. No, this is a failure. Mike McDaniel failed this season. He inherited a 9 or 10 win team. In my eyes, he had to win 11 or 12 because they gave you everything that you didn't have on offense. You brought in the coaches, and they gave you even more talent on offense, and you still couldn't get it done. And you still can't win without Tua. That's a real indictment on McDaniel. He's had several games without Tua that he could have won, and he has failed miserably without Tua. It's bad. It's a bad look for him. McDaniel's done enough to come back next year. It's not a Cam Cameron type of situation, but he's going to come back next year, and we're going to have, we're not going to be looking at him the same way. We're going to be looking at him with a much more critical eye next year. And people will have very little patience for Mike McDaniel next year. I can promise you that. He's a big boy. He's been at this long enough. He's got to know that he underperformed. There are no excuses for that. His team is better than last year's team. Maybe not on defense. Definitely not on defense. But the offense is so much better in this league. And the defense is actually, I think, overperformed at times. It's kept you in every single game. And to me, that's a freaking miracle with the talent that's on the field. Because Keon Crossan has zero business starting in the NFL. Zero. Stuff. Scott Mitchell, when people wanted him to take Marino's, that was Martin. That's not people. That was Greg Cody. Okay. Greg Cody's the one that wrote the article, and Greg's a fantastic dude, and he's funny and talented and all that good stuff, and been a great writer in this town for a long time, and funny stuff and all that. So Greg's a good dude. But hey, man, we all have our crazy points, right? And so Mitchell played a couple great games, and all of a sudden he was in love with what he was doing, and he thought Marino was getting old. So, hey, trade Marino at that time, and yeah, that's a bad call. We all make them. It is what it is. Have you seen our last 5 weeks? What are you smoking? I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean? What do you mean they couldn't score more? Is what you're saying? They couldn't have scored more against Buffalo if they actually stuck to the run. They couldn't have scored more against Buffalo if Sherfield or Hill don't hang on to a touchdown. Are you telling me that? Okay, all right. I don't know what you're watching, but that's fine, bro. That's all good, man. What's all these names you guys are bringing up? You guys are like going back and bringing up all kinds of stuff. Lamar is a free agent. If he's not tagged or re-signed, doubt Ravens let him hit. Yeah, well, whatever. Lamar Jackson stuff is pure stupidity. Absolute stupidity. I mean, it's like monster stupidity to get behind Lamar Jackson and think that you're going to win with that rinky-dink offense a Super Bowl. You better be so dominant as a team, something that they don't really have here. In order to win with that, because you can't count on him to beat you with the arm, so the arm has to be complementary. The run's supposed to be complementary, not the pass. It's not the way it's played. That's why he loses every time in the playoffs, whenever he does get there. So, yeah, and Lamar is not going to be coming here also. That would be, again, a stupid contract and giving a running quarterback who's already breaking down all that guaranteed money is about as dumb as it gets. I got to say. All right. Let's see what we got here. Peter German, thank you on Venmo. That's Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show on Venmo. Peter says Greer has underperformed for too many years. He has to go. Also need outside linebacker desperately. Riley is lost. Well, Riley's not supposed to be starting. And listen, Peter, no one can argue with your points. Right now, I'm a Greer guy, and it's hard to defend what's going on right now. You know what I mean? So it's backfired on him quite a bit right now, what's gone on, unfortunately. And by the way, the injuries also. Alejandro Vargas, thank you for the love on Venmo. McD needs to take a look at himself. He has shown us flashes of being a great OC, but needs to stay humble and accept he needs to grow as a head coach. Unlike Flo and Gase, let's see what year 2 looks like. Again, a lot of great points overall. That's good. The Cash Apps, the Venmos, the Super Chats, most of them have been pretty much on target and not necessarily crazy ones. So I'm impressed with that. Chris Hollis coming in. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me go. I guess we got Leon Fresco first. Leon says, owner obsessed with Peyton and Brady will do it. Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. Yeah. Leon, bro, you have to trade for Peyton. They don't have what it takes to trade for Peyton. And the Saints aren't going to want picks a couple of years down the line. They're going to want picks in this draft now, and they're not going to get any from Miami and next draft. That's just not the way That's not the way it goes. So I don't expect that to happen. And if anything, New Orleans will bring Brady there and bring Sean Payton back there because he's won there, and they love him there. But thank you for the super chat. What's next? BitBop66. Big O, after seeing what the 49ers did with Mr. Irrelevant, why not give Skylar a chance next week? Well, the streak is over, at least on the super chats. Okay, BitBop. Love you, brother. I know you're watching. Let's run something by you now. All right. I want you to come down to you're in fantasy land right now in Disneyland. Now, come on over to reality land. Okay. 1, does Miami have the same offensive line as San Francisco? Okay, thanks for playing. Does Miami have a better running game than San Francisco. Thanks for playing. Does Miami have a better defense or even close to San Francisco's probably number one defense in the NFL? Thanks for playing. What they're doing with Purdy is he doesn't have to do much because you've got weapons everywhere. You've got one of the best tight ends. You've got one of the best running backs, dual threat running backs, maybe if not the best, number 2, number 3 in the league when it comes to running and pass catching. You know, you got Ayuk. You've got, who's the other kid that I'm missing that they have? Ayuk. Oh, damn it. Anyway, they have terrific weapons on that team. And all he has to do is facilitate. Notice, they don't have him throwing a ton of yards. They don't have him throwing the ball a whole bunch of times. You know, you watch it, and I'll watch it for you. So you can manage the game differently for Purdy or any other quarterback. But Miami doesn't have that stud line, that stud running back with stud receivers, stud tight ends, stud defense, where you can control the game and manipulate the game. And so you can't score a lot of points in those games because San Francisco's defense is not going to allow you to score a lot of points. And in fact, they're going to. Right now, by the way, the Raiders are beating the 49ers 24-14. Brock Purdy has 11 of 15 for 64 yards and 2 touchdowns in the third quarter. Okay? Like, let me show you his stat line. The problem is some of you just don't really look at the game. You're just looking at stats. You look at the win and all that, but you're not watching the quality of team that San Francisco is compared to the quality of the team that Miami is. That's why Bob Greasy can throw the ball 7 times in the Super Bowl, because he's got Zonka, Kick, and Mercury Morris. He's got a monster offensive line. He's got Paul Warfield, and he's got a defense named the no-name defense. So you don't have to do that much. So it allows you to kind of manipulate everything. So his game logs, listen to his game logs, okay? 15 of 22, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception. 17 of 26, 217, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. 16 of 21, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Against Miami, 25 of 37, 210 yards. He threw it 37 times in that game, way more than any other game. Completed 25, way more than in any other game. He had 210 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. It's this mental masturbation that some of you have, and or let me go in Spanish, paja mental, for some of you out there, and you're not really watching the game. Brock Purdy is nothing special, but what they're doing is, what's special is how Shanahan manages the game around him, where all he has to do is facilitate. Ryan Tannehill went to playoffs and even to an AFC championship game. There were times he was throwing for 70 yards and 100 yards, and he wasn't doing much. He didn't have to. He had a monster line. He had A.J. Brown on one side. He had Derek Monster, Godzilla Henry back there, and he had a really good defense. So the defense controlled the game. The running game controlled the game. Then all he had to do was make a couple of passes to AJ or make a couple of passes to the tight ends, Jonnu Smith, and what was the other guy that I had? But, and that's it. That's all he had to do. So you kept the limited quarterback in a place where he belongs. Now, so you can understand the game. If you play for the Miami Dolphins, well, guess what, my brother? You're not sitting back there with a cigar because the San Francisco line or the Miami Dolphins line of the early 70s or the Dallas line of the 60s is giving you time. And you don't have a running back there that scares the shit out of people. Okay? Because that running back coming out of the backfield, oh, my God. Whoa. McCaffrey gets past me, he's gone. And then you got Willis work in the middle of the field that they use him, and he's a monster tight end. And Ayuk, can anybody get that name for me, please? Somebody get the name for me. Who's the other kid that's opposite of Ayuk? Anybody get it for me? I don't know why I'm brain farting right now. I didn't want to cheat, but I thought I could remember it myself. But anyway, so you got receivers. Miami, if you're the quarterback, you got to run for your life at times. You don't have a running game that you can depend on. You don't really have a playmaking tight end because your head coach refuses to use the one you currently have, right? And then it's almost like you're fixated on making big plays constantly. And today I was very happy because today on one of the drives, 13 plays, 75 yards, 7 minutes and 20 seconds. Big play on 2nd and 5 from the New England 19 where he hits Gesicki, right? They ran the ball 8 times for 23 yards. Not a great clip, but they ran it 8 times. They stayed with it. On another drive where they got a short field at the 40-something of New England, they ran the ball 3 times with a bad line, ran for 16 yards. So you were able to, but this is hit and miss. So the position they put Brock Purdy in is a lot easier than any position the Miami Dolphins quarterback is in. So that's why what Tua does is special. And that's why there's a drop-off when you get to Bridgewater and when you get to Skyler, because they cannot see the field as quickly as Tua does and react as quickly as Tua does. So Brock Purdy in this lineup would look a lot like Skyler Thompson. Capiche? Yes, sir.
Were you talking Deebo Samuel? Is that the receiver you're trying to think of?
Damn it, bro. Jesus Christ. Deebo Samuel, I forgot. Deebo Samuel, Brendan Ayuk, Willis, and Christian McCaffrey. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? How are you gonna defend that? You know, that's why. Watch the game. There's more to the game than just some stats. We're listening to some idiot on ESPN or Fox or whatever. We'll tell you that Brock Purdy, this, that, or whatever. Yeah, he's doing a nice, serviceable job, dude. But look what they're having him do. Pay attention. I used to have idiots all the time calling me or reaching out to me. Oh, you see Ryan Tannehill? You see how the Dolphins gave up? You were wrong. He's a franchise quarterback. He's doing it. I'm like, do you watch the games? Do you watch them, actually? Do you watch the games? No. You just saw a couple stats. They won, whatever. You didn't really pay attention. They don't have Ryan Tannehill winning any games. He just manages and plays, and all he has to do is make a couple throws. Everything else is taken care for him because that's all he is on his best day, a game manager. And that's all you have to do in San Francisco. Manage the game. That team is so good that all you have to do is manage the game. You do that, you end up with Brock Purdy stats. Okay? That's what happens. But, hey, kudos to him. Kids played well, done a nice job, smart kid, but understand what really is going on. They're not demanding a lot from him. They're very smart in the way they're managing it. Chris Hollis, thank you, sir, for the love in the super chat. I spent a lot of money to take my oldest son to his first Dolphins game against the Jets next weekend. I hope it will be worth it in the end. Well, listen, Chris, this is the way you got to look at it, my brother. Okay? You're going to Hard Rock Stadium. You both are going to go see your favorite teams. Father and son, I don't have my father around. I lost my father when I was 20, God. I was about 24, I want to say. 23 maybe. And, I never got to do anything else with him ever again. So in the end, my brother, this is going to be a great day for you and your son because you guys get to spend it together. So win or lose, don't allow that moment to be disturbed. So have a great time. Maybe if you could get autographs, you can visit the Dolphin land that they have with all the gear. Go out there, enjoy the atmosphere, go check out all the different monuments and different things that they have at the stadium. really take in, the Dolphin experience all over the place. And win or lose, you're going to be a winner, my brother. You're going there with your son. That's freaking awesome. So that to me, that's the attitude you've got to take. So that way, whatever happens, it's icing on the cake. If they happen to win, fantastic. If they don't win, you had a magical day, bro. Nobody can take that away from you. So that's the way you got to look at it. What's next there, baby? Jonathan Cagle, where will you be broadcasting the Jets game from? Right now, it's in studio. We don't have a sponsor for the Dolphins broadcast this season. Trying to fix that and get that going. So unfortunately, we don't have that, my friend. Would love to. If there's a business out there that wants to host our post-game show, we would love it. Armando Swain on Venmo, Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. Remember, you can donate Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. Armando Swain says, with Tua's head injuries in the past, what kind of QB plays like bootlegs and QB sneaks will be limited to, and how is that crucial to our offense being limited on certain plays? Well, there weren't a lot of that with Drew Brees. Now, the Armando, you know what would help Tua a lot? Build up that offensive line, get a running game that scares the shit out of people, and stay with the running game. That's what would help out a lot. Don't make Tua throw the ball 40 times. It's not that he can't do it at an efficient pace, but make him throw it 25 or 30 times, but have a monster running game. So invest more in that offensive line. All right. You're developing one right now, but you've got to develop a nasty offense. It's what I just told you about Purdy. They make his life easier. And that's what, Kansas City, you want to make Pat Mahomes' life easy. Aaron Rodgers, what do? They make his life more impossible. They don't get him the receivers he needs more often than not. They don't spend high draft picks. They don't bring in free agency. They've had all kinds of issues on the offensive line with injuries, so they cause problems for their quarterback. Andrew Luck. Dude, Andrew Luck was built way stronger than Tua, and he broke down because he took a beating. People conveniently forget. Okay, Tua, but look at Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was built like a tree trunk, and he was breaking down all the time. And I don't blame him. He was taking a beating. We're all human beings. So what I would say, Armando, is, God damn it, dude. Make his life easier. Protect the man. Build up a better offensive line. It's not like people don't do it. They can do it. We'll do it. I just told you Bob Greasy went to the Super Bowl and passed the ball 7 times. Do you know what it is that I'm all right, well, here's the game plan tonight, fellas. It's the Super Bowl. Bob, we're only going to need 7 passes from you. We've got everything else. Everybody would have been looking at each other like, what are you talking about, bro? What do you mean he's only going to pass the ball 7 times? How are we supposed to win that way? If in the broadcast they'd say, hey, all right, the Dolphins are getting ready to take the field. And let me tell you, the key in this game, they don't even need to pass the ball. In fact, I'd only give Greasy 7 passes in this game. That's all he needs. They go, what kind of an analyst is that? That guy's an idiot. Well, watch the Giants when you've got Otis Anderson and you've got Mark Bavaro, but yet you're winning with Mark Ingram and Phil McConkey? Well, of course, you got a monster freaking defense. You got one hell of an offensive line. You got a powerful veteran running back. You got a legendary tight end that could carry. He was the Zonka of tight ends. And you made life easy for Phil Simms, and he could be effective. And Joe Montana had a Pro Bowl offensive line with a Pro Bowl fullback, with a Pro Bowl running back, and 2 Pro Bowl wide receiver, or maybe 1 Pro Bowl wide receiver. I don't think Jonathan Taylor was Pro Bowl, but he was pretty good. And then you had a Pro Bowl tight end. And then, by the way, you had a Pro Bowl defense all over the place. They made his life easy, too. So how about making your quarterback's life a little easier? That's all I'm asking. You know, that's all. They started rough this year, but they went and bought a whole bunch of linemen for Joe Burrow. Now he's got a little more time. They've gotten better as the year has gone on, and they've settled down a little bit. And they're not great, but they're better. They made the investment, and they got Joe Mixon, and they've got 3 receivers. They make his life a little easier. And then that young defense has actually gotten better. To my surprise, by the way, I thought maybe they would be a one-hit wonder, and they might just be going back. You never know. Be wrong on that one. But how about making the quarterback's life a little easier? How about not putting the entire weight of the world on a guy that shouldn't be carrying the weight of the world? That's what they should do. Next up is Sebastian Ramirez. Don't you think you can count on Tua next year? Don't think you can count on Tua next year. That's Sebastian. You have to go into 2023 with that mindset. So it's so important to know who the backup is. So yes, you have to go into 2023 thinking Tua will get injured, because that's been the MO. Unfortunately, I know Tua can ball. I'm not worried about that. I know Tua can be easily one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the NFL, one of the 5 best passers. Okay? This kid's a stud. But unfortunately, got to stay healthy, man. And he can't stay healthy. That's the bad part. Thank you, Sebastian. Appreciate you. Carlos Arbeto in the pick 6 play. No need to be aggressive there. It was 3rd and 15. Our defense was doing well. Their offense wasn't changing the game. Well, listen, man, it's Teddy Bridgewater. He is what he is. I keep trying to tell you guys, he's a fantastic young man. He's not much of a difference maker as a quarterback. Never has been, really. And so it is what it is. I didn't have a lot of hope for this game. Once Teron Armstead was out, I really lost hope. I thought, okay, maybe they got a shot here, and but no. And then this one is Chris Dravez. Would you take? No, it's not. No Brady next year. No, I would not. We'll see what happens. We'll see how they handle the offseason. All right. Let's go. Let's get the edge with the one and only Marcel Louis Jacques.
Time to get the edge on the Miami Dolphins with our Edge Energy Drink Miami Dolphins report. When you want the energy drink that's delicious and smooth with zero aftertaste, you can only order Edge Energy Drink at myedgedrink.com. That's myedgedrink.com. Here's ESPN Dolphin Insider Marcel Louis Jacques.
All righty, there he is, Marcel Louis Jacques. How you feeling? Good looking? Oh, I can't hear you. Can't hear you.
There we go. We got me now.
There we go.
It wouldn't let me unmute, and I'm hearing the Edge Energy promo in my ear like 3-4 times. So I'm good though. I'm good. That was just trying to gather any sort of thoughts from what was otherwise a pretty mind-numbing game, but kind of disbelief at this point that we're at this point. There's disbelief that we're at this point. That's
well, I mean, we as Dolphin fans, we've been beaten down like this so many other times that it's just kind of the same old. You're kind of now experiencing it as a new thing, and I was really hoping that this was the end of that, and we're gonna head for bigger and better things. But obviously that's not the case. And if anybody was wondering if there's a drop-off after Tua, you kind of saw the drop-off there, unfortunately.
Yeah. There is one. The defense plays this. They play this offense differently. Like they ran it still a lot of too high, so they respected Teddy's arm, or at least the weapons the Dolphins have in some regard. But they forced him to take check down after check down after check down, and they didn't allow him to take any shots downfield. They didn't allow anything to open up downfield. There was one instance where I thought he missed Tyreek Hill on the deep post route. But beyond that, man, it was just again, it was a mind-numbing game, and that's Bill Belichick's wheelhouse. He will take away what you do best on offense, and he will happily grind out a slugfest or something like that, like this. I don't know if we can even call it a slugfest, because that's when teams are throwing punches back and forth, right?
Yeah.
This was more slug than slugfest. It wasn't pretty. Skyler, I thought, at least added some kind of dimension where he could run the ball or run with the ball. But yeah, beyond that, there was no hope. There was no hope for this team once New England took the lead again. You would like to think that maybe if Teddy finishes that game out, maybe they close the win out. But like I said the last time I was on the show, like you can only make so many excuses. You can only, come up with so many excuses and reasons why before it stops mattering. You stop caring. Like Dolphins fans, like, do you guys really care to say, like, are you even arguing it anymore online? Like, there's injuries, this guy's hurt, that guy's hurt. Or are you just
saying,
like,
the
whatever?
The injuries is ridiculous. I mean, it's just,
It's
Javon
ridiculous,
Holland
but again, like, you can only do that for so long.
Kendall Lamb goes down, Javon Holland goes down. It's like they get no breaks. Teddy goes down. It's every week, and then you start the game. I kind of felt like they had a shot today. I kind of felt like, all right. And then when I saw the Armstead news, I was like, okay, that's it. The X and believe it or not, the X and Chubb news, I wasn't that concerned about because they haven't really been very impactful as it is. So it's like, okay, well, okay, maybe we can survive without them. But once I saw Armstead, and I got to tell you something, having said all that, I got to watch it again. But the line wasn't necessarily a big problem today for the passing game.
It wasn't a huge problem. Guys were not open. I think it was that simple. Guys were open downfield. I can appreciate and recognize the fact that they were able to put together a couple of scoring drives, a couple of, or 3 sustained scoring drives where you're not reliant on the big play. But, as hypocritical as this might sound, you kind of find yourself, if you're a Dolphins fan, you kind of find yourself hoping for a big play. Like, please, like, can somebody take a screen or take a slant to the house? Can somebody bust the coverage? Can somebody take the top off this defense? Like, it wasn't. They went from being overly explicitly reliant on the big play to it not even being an option, not even being on the board, which is closer to the norm than than otherwise. It's closer to normal football than a 40-yard pass play every single game. But yeah, you kind of found yourself hoping, like, man, please crack one, do something to make this defense nervous or respect you. But New England did a great job of keeping everything in front of them. I thought maybe with the banged up secondary, we might see some busts, some coverage busts. We might see just Tyreek or Jalen straight up beat their man. But it felt like those guys were essentially double covered. It felt like they always had a safety over the top honed in on Tyreek, honed in on Jalen, who was almost non-existent today. And it was like playing a brick wall, man. This was total different from that first game of the season.
Yeah, no, of course, definitely. It was
total 180. That's the word.
Where are you? How are you grading Mike McDaniel heading into the final game of the season?
Man,
tough, right?
It's tough. It's tough because I don't know what guys are being asked to do, and that's what makes grading so difficult. It's like I'm not in that room. If he sat down with us and said, like, on this play, this guy was supposed to do X, this guy was supposed to do Y, this is their option. I can watch the film and guess. I can watch the film and make an assumption, but I don't personally know what every assignment is, and so because of that, like, there's no rubric to grade on.
Buddy, we can say that when things are going good, we can say the same shit. Bottom line is results. And you're not getting any results, and you're losing game after game within a score, and I'll say it another week in a row. The defense once again did enough for you to win. They allowed 16 points, and you gave up 7, and you missed a field goal in the process. So you easily could have won this game by 8 points if you actually handled your business. So once again, this offense comes up short. So you tell me, how are we supposed to look at Mike McDaniel? Like, I'm not saying to fire him or anything like that, but I'm going to say this. I'm going to be completely honest. A very critical eye will be put on Mike McDaniel going into 2023. That's what
it is about to be another frustrating offseason of debate, of movement, of staff changes. I think like the one thing that I keep coming back to in terms of this defense, I can't really say they played good enough to win, because there were critical moments, especially on third down, and it feels like this has been a theme over the past month, where they can't get off the field on third down, whether it's because they simply allow a team to convert or they commit some sort of penalty that extends the drive. The Keon Crossen DPI at the 5-yard line is maybe the worst penalty of the season. It might be the worst penalty of the season.
It's Keon Crossen.
You're an NFL player making how many million.
He has
you do not get to do that at this point in the year. You don't get to say that in January. In September, you can say it's Keon Crossen. In October, you can say it's Keon Crossen. It's January. He's been playing how many snaps a game for the past 4 months?
And when you're a bad player, you're a bad player, dude. And when you're Noah Igbenogany, it's not going to change, my man. I don't give a shit how many years goes by. I don't care how many weeks go by. If you're a bad player, you're a bad player, period. Week 1 or week 17, Keon Crossen is a bad player. And some of you are expecting bad players to become good players.
I guess where I'm trying to decipher the tone, your tone here. Like, are you making an excuse for him? Because like, there's no excuse for it. I don't care if you're Keon Crossen or Xavier Howard. Like,
no, my problem with
you messed up.
No. My problem with all of this and people like you, okay, is that you have expectations for these guys. I have none.
I'm sorry.
I have none.
I expect an NFL quarterback not to shove somebody down while the ball is in the air. My bad. I'm the asshole for that. You're right. I am wrong.
They're a shit defense any way you slice it. And the shit defense keeps you in the game every single week. The problem is you guys keep thinking that Keon Crossen, hey, look, Kader Kohu, love Kader Kohu. He had a couple really bad mistakes today. He got beat badly twice, today, and also committed a penalty too. So you're gonna have, but he's a Division II pup. I can't expect. Dude, Pat Surtain couldn't even get on the field his first year. Here's a Division II guy that is actually playing. I just think like Duke Riley. He doesn't know where he's at, but he's Duke Riley. Great guy, great soundbite, fantastic guy, want to hang out with, talk football. He's not supposed to be starting, Marcel. That's my problem with some of you out there. You have expectations, and this is why you keep getting disappointed. I have none, and I'm shocked that they keep you in a game every week. So I
think you can expect replacement level play from them. That's my expectation is replacement level play. Like, you're going to get beat on some routes, sure. Like, that's where I'm going to say that's Keon Crossen. When we see Noah Igbenogany get beat, I'm going to say, okay, that's Noah Igbenogany. Like, I expect those. I don't expect you when I'm thinking, you shouldn't expect your primary backup corner. You should not expect him to shove somebody down at the 5-yard line while the ball's in the air because he didn't turn his head around. That's baseline cornerbacking. Is turn around and find the ball, make a play on the ball. He didn't make a play. He just shoved him down. Like, I don't care who it is. You could be disappointed by bad play, and that's bad play. That's why I can't call you are what you are right now. Like, you are this defense is what it is. They are Keon Crossen. He has to play.
I get you, right?
So like,
But
there's
you're
we don't get to
but
write
Doggy,
that off by saying it's Keon Crossen.
but you just said that you're going to occasionally be beaten, right? That's what you say, right? That you can deal with that, right?
He
Right?
wasn't even beaten. That's the crazy thing.
Well,
He was
okay,
in position to make the play.
but
Like
that's
that's the point. It's like
but my point is that this defense just gets occasionally beaten just enough, but they don't get routed. There's no game where they rush 300 yards on them. There's no game where they pass for 500 yards and 4 or 5 touchdowns and you lost by a bunch of points because the defense got dogged. Not in one single game. The only game was the Baltimore game early that you fell in a hole. And then once you fell in the hole, in the Detroit game, you fell in the hole. You know what the defense did? Oh, my God. It shut them down completely and allowed the offense to come back. Wow, what a concept. It did what it needed so you can actually win the game. Wow, damn it, dude. That's amazing. And if you look at it, they suck. That's the difference between some of you and myself. They're not good, yet they keep you in the damn game every single week. And they did it again this week. They allowed 16 points. My brother, 16 points in the NFL. You should be 17-0. In this NFL, where you're supposed to be scoring in the 30s, you should be 17-0 if you're.
I mean, yeah, if you
come on, man.
If you play the New England Patriots every week, you should win 13 of those games. So like, let's not discount who they were playing. You could like, it's not the same. Like that offense had nothing. Mac Jones is not a good quarterback.
No,
Matt Patricia is not a good offensive coordinator.
Definitely
like
not.
So you better play like that is perhaps what's even more disappointing is they can't take advantage of even this kind of matchup.
Yeah.
Like it was a bad defense against a bad offense, and you saw a bad offense win.
Yeah.
The problem is on the other side of the ball, it was a good defense versus a bad offense.
Not really, because your offense actually scored more than what the defense allowed. You lost because Teddy Bridgewater allowed a pick 6 and you missed a field goal. That's why you lost. Okay? That's why you lost. Because if you look at what the defense allowed on the scoreboard and what the offense scored, they scored more than what the defense allowed. So they did enough. Okay? You lost because the offense couldn't score, but what they did was give the other team points. I can't blame that. I can't blame that on the defense. You shouldn't either. It's not fair.
These games, like you don't always lose just because you get routed in the NFL. Like losses don't happen just because you allow 500 passing yards. Oftentimes, games come down. Games come down to 3 or 4 plays. You can usually boil it down to 3 or 4 plays, and the problem is too many of those plays over the past month have been, they could have gotten off the field on third and 12, but defensive holding extended the drive, or it's 3rd and 6 and Mac Jones threw a duck downfield, a prayer, and you shoved the player down 5 seconds before the ball got there. It's happened too many times. Like it's not a good defense.
Come up with the offensive plays too to counter that every single time. Every single in the Bills game alone, with all the running plays that they left on the field on 3rd and short, with the 2 touchdowns that were dropped in one possession, with the Braylon Sanders knuckleheaded play that he stops, and if he just runs, he runs right into a touchdown, for not going for 1 point instead of going for 2. I can counter everything you say on defense with 2 of them on offense. For every one you have on defense, I will counter with 2 on offense. That's how bad it's been, dude. Green Bay Packers, same thing, dude. Stupid decisions. Look at Mike Gesicki. All of a sudden, he's starting to help you. Well, why weren't you using him all season? Because you're stubborn? Because you refuse to use a guy that actually can make plays for you? I mean, how asinine is that? That part about Mike McDaniel drives me a little crazy, that he's pretty stubborn about this. The running game helped him out in a couple. Those 2 scoring drives, what helped also? And the first one, the running game wasn't necessarily that effective, but it was complementary. And in the second one, it was effective. So I have to lean on a lot of this on offense and say that's where the talent is, Marcel. That's where you've had less injuries. That's where you have the superior side of it. When this was Jason Taylor and Zach Thomas and Pat Surtain and Sam Madison and Tim Bowens, do you know who we used to lay the blame on? Sam Madison, Tim Bowens, Pat Surtain, Jason Taylor. They didn't do enough. You know why? Because we knew that Jay Fiedler wasn't good enough. We knew that he was just a manager, a game manager, and they had decent players, but that offense wasn't anything special. So you needed the defense to be special. In the 2022 version of the Miami Dolphins, the only side of the football that can be special is offense. There's nothing special about defense, and my God, special teams. There's certainly nothing special about the special teams. That's why you and I and many others look at it differently. I count on the offense to bail them out. Some of you are still living on the past, thinking that this defense is something to carry anything. They're not going to carry shit. That's the difference.
Yeah, but I don't think I ever said I expected the defense to carry it. I think you said that they played well enough to win, and I said this is why I can't necessarily say that for them over the past couple of weeks. They played well enough to win. I don't know about that. They played better than they have played at their lowest points this season. I can come to that common ground. But like well enough to win is getting off the field on third down, and too often these drives are extended because of bad penalties.
Get me Zach Thomas. Get me Derek Brooks. Get me a real middle linebacker, and maybe I can get off the field a little bit more. Maybe I can actually track down a running quarterback. Get me, a nice, strong, athletic, fast running back.
They hoped for that. I think they hoped for that with Channing Tindall, and there's still hope for that with Channing Tindall. But he's not really getting on the field. He's definitely not making an impact when he is on the field. This draft class as a whole has been ineffective, and we expected that when their first pick was a third rounder.
Yeah.
But
they're young. I'm not worried about
rounders. It's we'll see when we see. But like they hope, I think Channing Tindall, with that athleticism, with that speed, can be a sideline to sideline guy for him. I don't think Jerome Baker is having a bad season right now. I think he's actually, I don't put a lot of stock into PFF, but if you do, he's pretty highly ranked among inside linebackers. So, or among linebackers.
Let me explain what is wrong, what I believe is wrong with Jerome Baker, and it's not really his fault. If Jerome Baker had an impactful end on the other side, a middle linebacker that could roam the field and do his job, then Jerome Baker would become a much better player. But when you start putting responsibilities on other people to do things that they don't need to do, or they're not really suited to do, like sifting through the traffic and getting running backs and behind the line of scrimmage, almost, that's not really his thing. His thing is to blitz. His thing is to cover a little bit. His thing is not really to be a thumper. And you're asking him to become more of that when that's not really his game. He's, I think, a pretty good weak side linebacker. But in order for him to become what you want him to be, you need other people to fill their roles so he doesn't have to, kind of like what's going on with Javon Holland now. Javon Holland has to kind of play like, babysitter back there now. And he can't necessarily attack nearly as much as he wants because he doesn't have as much trust around him anymore. So he has to take it easy a little bit more now, and he has to be a little bit more protective back there, in other words. So it just changes things. And I think what's going on with Jerome is unfortunate for him. It's not that he's a bad player. It's just now you're putting him to do more than what he should be doing, and you're not allowing him to free flow and play like he was last year and the year before, where you had the other guys doing their jobs and he was able to actually ad lib a little bit more with his athleticism. That's just me. It's not really all on him. I think it's his surroundings, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, that's fair to say. I think with Brandon Jones, with Brandon Jones healthy, you get a different Javon Holland. It's just one of those seasons where people are going to look down on it because his responsibilities were different, and therefore his statistical output is going to be different. His production is going to be different, but he's still the same elite safety that they drafted last year.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. It's just that the whole dynamics change, bro. You don't have that lockdown secondary, so then you don't have the same pass rush up front, and then because you don't have that, then you don't have a great linebacking core. That's something that you're really missing on this team. There's a trickle down effect to this whole defense that it's just changed the look of it and the way it can play, and that's why it's not effective. I just think philosophically you were built one way and then you had to change, and you're not built to change. So you're kind of screwed. And then you're half-assed throughout the season trying to bring people off the street to fill it in. And it's just so hard to do that, man. Jason Sanders has played one more game for the Dolphins, and he should be cut, I would imagine, right? They must bring in another kicker next year, correct?
Yeah, I saw I looked it up. Spotrac says he's a $0 cap hit, dead cap hit, if he's cut this year. So they're not tied to him at all. Daniel Oyefusi and I were looking at it, looking at the numbers this game. I forget exactly what it is, but I know this year he's 1 for 5 on kicks of 50 or more yards. Last year he wasn't good from 50 or more either.
Yeah, it started last year.
And that's a bad trend after you got paid.
Amen.
It's a bad trend after you got paid. So I think I think he's probably done. He's probably done unless they just go on a run to the Super Bowl this year in which he scores every single point. I think that the Sanders era might be done. It's a fickle position, man. Like, it's hard to be a kicker, like a mainstay kicker. You don't really see that anymore. Because you miss a couple kicks, guess what, man? There's a shit ton of kickers out there. There's a lot of other kickers you can go get.
The Justin Tuckers are just so hard.
Yeah, the Tuckers, the Robbie Golds are done. The Sebastian Janikowskis are done. Like, you could get a kicker, man. They'll play for 3 different teams, 3-4 teams a year. Good kickers too. You would think, wow, like Rodrigo Blankenship. I would have thought, wow, yeah, he looks really good as a rookie with the Colts. I think he just got cut by the Cardinals, or maybe he's still in Arizona now. The movement, the player movement for kickers and specialists is wild. But I obviously don't have a name of who they're going to bring in, but I would expect. I'd expect they move on.
Yeah, and they did a good job, by the way. They did a good job with the punter this year. They needed a punter. They went and found one because the punter was struggling the year before. And this guy's done a really good job. With Tua, what are you hearing? There were reports out there that he might, if they make the playoffs, he could play the playoffs. Is that anything?
I honestly, I'm glad you brought this up, because I thought like the Tua reporting from this morning was some of the most useless reporting we have ever encountered this season. Oh, sources say Tua would love to play in the playoffs if he's cleared.
So
what are we saying? Of course he would. Tua would play right now if they let him. Are you crazy? What kind of report is that? Yeah. Like, that's just like you say a couple buzzwords and watch people fly all over. He said absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Glazer did. So like, sure, I'm sure maybe he was told that, and maybe Tua can play in the playoff. But you know what? I know Tua is not cleared right now. I know they're taking it day by day with him right now. We'll get an update tomorrow.
You're on the phone, and Lee says to him, well, he really would like to play if they get to the playoffs. There you go. I got my report. That's it.
Big scoop. Breaking news. Tua Tagovailoa still wants to play football. Like, it's not a report. That's not an update, guys. Like, I know everybody is anxious for Tua news right now, and like I promise, whether it's myself, whether it's one of my colleagues or peers, competitors, whatever, we're gonna have it when we know it. We'll have it when we know it. It's my understanding that McDaniel is the only person talking for Tua right now. Like, nobody else has clearance to. He doesn't want anybody else talking for him right now. If it's not coming from McDaniel, I would be wary of trusting it. But obviously he wants to play. But let's keep it a buck, man. It might be a moot point. it might be a moot point because I don't think this team beats the Jets next week.
No,
There's
no way.
there's nothing
No.
that they've shown. I don't care what the Jets are doing against the Seahawks right now. The
No,
Patriots were bad entering this
they were
game
getting
too.
they were getting killed. They were getting killed. I don't know
So
what it
like
is.
I have no confidence in this team at this point. We used to do confidence ratings last year at ESPN. Mine would be maybe 0.5, in which I'm confident that they can take the field. I'm not confident they can win. Like they haven't looked like a playoff team for more than a month. I don't think that changes just because another week goes by. I don't think that changes if Tua is cleared and plays. I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. I think we've seen it doesn't really matter who's at quarterback. This offense has been in a rut for a month. It doesn't matter. A bad offense looked worse with Teddy and Skyler today. That's what happened. It's not like it's not like they drove a sports car into the ground. The sports car's transmission has been busted for a month. It doesn't matter if you have Lewis Hamilton or a 14-year-old behind the wheel. Like the car is busted.
No, I'm with you.
So
I'm with you. By the way, Seattle is beating the Jets 20-6 with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Mike White, 16 of 32, 168 yards, and 1 interception so far. So yeah, that's what's headed there.
Yeah, I was just talking to a Jets fan the other night, and he was trying to say, Mike White's back, but Mike White, like, were we doing this with Mike White? Like, are we gonna act like last year he didn't get exposed?
He's a
Like
Jag.
last year he got exposed.
It's
Like, you know what Mike White is.
It's the silly shit that goes on because he's local. It's the same thing, dude. It's the same thing that goes on with Teddy Two Gloves. And I've been telling people for years, he's a really nice kid. He's a phenomenal kid. You want your daughter to date him, but overall, you don't really need him as a franchise quarterback. He hasn't even averaged 2 touchdowns in his career per game. He's never been that guy. And it's just why? Because he's from here. And it's just one of those things, dude. It's just like that. That's part of you'll get used to it down here also. There'll be that bias because he's from this town. So then they'll give him a little extra love. If he's not playing here, he's playing somewhere else. But they didn't really watch Teddy every week in Minnesota. They don't really watch Mike White thoroughly. You know what I mean? Like he has thrown 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in his run so far in 3 games, and all 3 touchdowns were in 1 game. And he doesn't have any touchdowns in this game. So 3 of the 4 games he hasn't thrown a touchdown. But Mike White. Why? Because he's where is he? Sunrise or
He's good for like an explosive game when he first arrives, and then offenses or defenses say, "Oh wait, this is how you play him," and then he comes back to earth. Like it's not the Jets are still a quarterback away. They're not a contender because Mike White's playing. Case in point, what we're seeing.
Although I will say that Breece Hall kid is special. That kid can ball, bro. They got themselves a special player in that one. All right, special player. What are you working on ESPN so folks can check you out?
I have my big question today was, who is most at blame. So I'm going to spend some time trying to figure that out. And taking this one day at a time, just like they are with Tua. I'm going to take my week one day at a time. No plans, because my plans could be thrown in the trash can if Tua is cleared or ruled out or whatever. Like my week is going to revolve around Tua. I know it already. We all know it. It's fun. So I don't have a.
Here's a tip.
I don't have a hard plan. That's what I'm working on.
Those of us that cover the Dolphins or root for the Dolphins, I just want you to know it's a weird thing when you walk by your liquor cabinet and it's calling you. I just want you to know that it's not you. It's the Dolphin thing that does to you. So don't listen to that voice. Don't hit the bottle. Stay away. Don't pick up a drinking problem just because you're covering the Dolphins, okay? It's happened before. We want to look out for you, Marcel. Take it easy, okay?
Yeah, I'm be all right. I'm be all right.
All right. Follow him on Twitter at Marcel_LJ and catch him doing his thing here with our Edge Energy Drink Miami Dolphins report. Remember, go to myedgedrink.com and use our code Big O. Get 10% off so you can get the most delicious, smooth, and zero aftertaste sports drink on the planet. Yes, delicious, smooth, and zero aftertaste. Amazing. And only 78 calories. myedgedrink.com. That is the website. Marcel, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Y'all take it easy. Happy New Year.
You got it. There you go. Marcel Louis-Jacques.
You now have the edge on the Miami Dolphins with the Edge Energy Drink Miami Dolphins Report featuring ESPN's Marcel Louis-Jacques. Get the energy drink that's delicious and smooth with zero aftertaste. You can only order Edge Energy Drink at myedgedrink.com. That's myedgedrink.com.
Thoughts on trading Armstead? You can't get ahead of the cap. You gave him a big signing bonus. You would take a monster cap hit. You cannot trade free agents the year after you sign them. Yeah, look what happened with Eric Flowers. That's just Eric Flowers, and that was a $10 million cap hit because you traded him right away after you signed him a year later because it was a multi-year deal. And Flo didn't want him, and so then they were forced to trade him. You can't do that. The cap hit would be, and you're already going to let go of Byron Jones, and that's going to be like a $14 million cap hit. They might do it in June where they take $4 million this year and $10 million next year. I don't know. We'll see. But you can't do that. I appreciate the super chat, but no, that does not work. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have here? Did I get any other super chats there that I missed out on, Sean? Just in case. Okay. Apparently not. All right, Sean. It looks like Joe Shad is lost in translation. Does he have a link, or what's the deal, or what? He has one, so he's lost in translation. Okay. All right. So he is on the road, so I don't know when his plane is and all that good stuff. My Lord, I hope all of you out there were able to weren't caught up in any of that travel mess this last week. I feel so bad for so many Americans, and well, I'm sure even international folks that were caught up in that mess traveling throughout our country. And the storm just came, and plus Southwest. Let me tell you something about Southwest. I think it was like 4 years ago I got stuck at Southwest, or 3 years ago. No, it was maybe 4 years ago at Southwest. And I got stuck in the terminal for a day, and I was Tom Hanks. So I was there for a little over 24 hours. And it was brutal, dude. It sucked. And it was their system that went down. And they didn't know where their pilots are going to be, where they were supposed to go, the schedules for anything. And Delta shared the same system. And if you notice now, what's happened, and there have been some other crashes for Southwest since. But in this one, this past week, notice how it wasn't Delta, it was only Southwest. It tells me that Delta, they used to share the same system. Delta got off that system, and Southwest did not improve it. And it's continued to fail. And obviously, it failed again. Shame, dude. Shame. I felt bad people were losing their luggages, or they had to wait in line for 4, 5, 6 hours to get their luggage back, if it was even there. Jesus. Just tough, man. I feel bad for a lot of the travelers out there. Anyway. Let's see, what else do we have? Finn Addict Fury with Larry K says Tua struggled badly in December. Can't just call injury. Yeah, well, he didn't struggle in the Buffalo game. He played really well in the Buffalo game, so I wouldn't blame that. The San Fran and the Chargers games were terrible, and then obviously the last game was the first half. He played well, and then obviously the concussion for the second half. So that was the problem. All right, let's get into a little hijinks with the one and only Joe Shad.
Dolphins fans, It's time to talk to the man with incredibly high standards. It's not easy to score an A or grade 10 out of 10 with this guy. In fact, he isn't impressed with Joey Chestnut's dominance, Usain Bolt's speed, or even Evan Ginkel's locks. Will the hijinks continue? Can the Miami Dolphins do the impossible by getting a passing grade with Joe Shad? It's time for the Hijinks Sports Grill Miami Dolphins Report. This report is brought to you by Hijinks Sports Grill in Boca at 133 Southeast Meisner Boulevard. Enjoy happy hour 4 to 7 p.m. Reserve a VIP table online and receive 1 free sparkling wine. Follow them on Instagram at Hijinks Sports Grill. Here's Miami Dolphins insider Joe Shad.
There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. That is Joe Shad. How you feeling, baby? You feeling good? Better than the Dolphins? He can't hear us.
Yeah, it's obviously disappointing.
There we go. There we go. Now we got him. Okay. All right. So repeat what you just said because we didn't hear you. Go ahead.
Are you guys hearing the Hijinks Sports?
You're good now. You're good now. But I just asked you something. You might have
No,
heard
I know,
me.
but
I can hear you. That's what it was.
I'm hearing the happy hour Hijinks Sports Grill 4 to 7 over and over again in my ear. So feedback.
Oh, okay. See if Sean can.
Here's Miami Dolphins insider Joe Shad. I keep hearing the ad over and over again.
Okay, well, are you on the live? Are you looking at YouTube or are you live on your link? Don't be looking at YouTube because if you're connected to the YouTube link, then you're delayed. Are you connected to the link that we sent you? That's the key. Can you hear me now? You're good?
Yeah, I don't watch your show on YouTube. No offense. No. Listen, obviously disappointing. Know this team has a lot of injuries. Wrote about the injuries. Asked Mike McDaniel about the injuries. But they needed to find a way to win 1 or 2 of these. 0-5 doesn't cut it.
Your thoughts on how the offensive line played without Armstead and putting Liam Eichenberg back? I know you got to look at the film and all that, but it seemed like they did a pretty decent job overall of giving them time to pass.
Yeah, it was fine. You can't blame the offensive line. There's a lot of things to blame, a lot of people to blame. Teddy Bridgewater with the pick 6. Skylar Thompson with the interception right after that. Noah Igbenogany giving up a touchdown. The Dolphins defense once again folding late in the fourth quarter, giving up a long drive. That's happened too often this year. I'm trying to find a spot that doesn't have a bright overhead light. That's just the deal here, I guess. There you go. That's a little better.
So what is it, like an empty? You're in the suite still, and it's nice and empty. Is that what it is? Yeah,
I'm still here. There's just the bright fluorescent overhead lights that really bother my eyes, and they look bad on camera. So, but
by the way,
so what I wrote about
stuff. By the way, the important stuff. What was at halftime? What'd you eat? Because that's one of the best spreads in the NFL. Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, no, I had the ice cream with the apples and a lot of coffee and a lot of cookies and. Yeah, it was a good meal. It was good. We had a really good meal in the north end of Boston last night. It was me, David Furonis, and Adam Beasley. We went to a really, really good Italian restaurant.
Which one?
So that's about the best thing I can say about the Dolphins right now.
What was the name of the restaurant? What was the name of the restaurant?
Preza.
Huh?
Yeah, so I'm telling you, Preza. Prezza.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. All right. Yeah, I know it's a little dicey. Teddy Bridgewater. All right. So how do you handle this going into next offseason? All right. They're going to bring Tua back. That's not even a question, obviously. But they don't have a lot of draft capital. And because you have to go into next season with the thought that he is injury prone, that he's going to miss games, something's going to happen, you're going to need somebody behind him, not just Skylar, but somebody proven. I know they don't have a lot of draft capital, but they can make cap space at least. Who would you go after? What kind of a name do you think you bring? Because it has to be somebody even better than Teddy Bridgewater. Doesn't it have to be somebody that almost can challenge Tua also at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo is a guy who is the obvious answer. He knows the offense, and he is injury prone. But if you combine him with Tua, if you combine him with Tua, you obviously hope that one of them will be healthy and available. It's not easy to stay healthy and available at quarterback, as we've seen here with the Dolphins. So, Mike White, who else? There's not a lot of big names. Big name quarterbacks don't usually become available on the free agent market. But even Teddy was injury prone. That's one thing I mentioned in my column. Big O, I know you're a big Chris Greer fan. Yeah. Chris Greer has done some good things. But it is a fact that Tua Tagovailoa, Xavier Howard, Bradley Chubb, and Teron Armstead were all either high draft picks or given a lot of money in free agency, and they all have injury checkered pasts. And now they're all hurt at the same time. So
Byron Jones, by the way. Byron Jones.
I don't know how many games he's missed over his career. I don't know.
Well, but you gave him big money and he's missed the whole year. So that doesn't matter.
But he wasn't necessarily injury prone.
Injury prone, right. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Even Teddy, injury prone.
Yeah, I'm a big Chris Greer fan. I believe in Chris Greer, but this is bad for him right now. There's no doubt the Chubb move is a disaster for him right now. Tua, you knew that. I mean, for me, I know others had problems or questions about his play. I never question his play. I always question his durability. And that's the one thing. And you took the chance, and he has not been durable at all. And that's been a problem for the team. No, I'm with you. As much as I like Chris Greer, this is a bad look for him right now. Igbenogany not coming through, Austin Jackson not coming through, and then if Tua is not successful because he was really the linchpin in that draft, that becomes a bad look for him. So yeah, no, I'm sure. Listen, everybody's going to get heat now. I got plenty of people saying fire McDaniel, get rid of Tua, and fire Chris Greer. Oh, and Stephen Ross, sell the team. I'm sure you're getting all four of those also.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't spoken to Stephen Ross in a long time. Maybe he'll speak at the NFL owners' meetings in Arizona in March, although I kind of doubt it. I know there's been a couple of statements released, but that first-round draft pick for the Tom Brady tampering, if in fact the NFL would allow Tom Brady to come to the Dolphins, you wonder, would he bring Brady on and have Tua be the backup developmental guy?
I doubt that's going to happen because the talk is Sean Payton going back to New Orleans and Brady going with him. And I think if Brady's going to go somewhere, he's going to go somewhere where he can get the coach also that can help him out. I don't think Mike McDaniel's done enough for Brady to trust. So he would rather go with Sean Payton probably more to New Orleans. I think that's unrealistic because you would have to trade for Payton anyways, and Miami doesn't have any capital to trade. So to me, that's all talk. I think it's more what you said. It's the Garoppolo. It's Derek Carr. It's something along those lines. You're going to have to try to see if you can bring one of those guys in. But I don't know if those guys are going to come here when you tell them you're competing or you're backing up, when maybe those guys are going to be offered. I think Derek Carr is going to be offered a starting job somewhere. Don't you?
Yeah,
right?
I mean, we have felt that way about other quarterbacks before and been surprised when they weren't offered a starting job and had to take a backup job somewhere, at least temporarily. Like the Jameis Winstons of the world, those kinds of guys, who have pedigree, the Marcus Mariotas of the world, the Ryan Tannehills of the world. You can draw a direct parallel between the end of Ryan Tannehill's career and the end of Derek Carr's career in Las Vegas. And Tannehill ended up having to go, quote unquote, compete with Mariota. Then Mariota had to end up signing somewhere as a backup. So there's sort of a cycle of quarterbacks with pedigree who run their flame extinguishes in their originating city, and then they maybe have to be in that backup / compete role. It's just, God, here we were 8-3 not long ago. Now we're 8-8. No first round pick. Tua has at least 2 concussions. The defense is folded in the fourth quarter multiple times. Jason Sanders and the special teams continue to be a disaster. It's just a terrible fall. I don't remember the 1993 season, but I looked it up, and the Dolphins went from 9-2 to 9-7, missed the playoffs. Don Shula was the coach. Dan Marino got hurt. Steve DeBerg and Scott Mitchell took snaps at quarterback for the Dolphins. What do you remember? Is there a parallel to this year?
Yeah. Well, the what I remember the most about that year was Armando Salguero. So I'm doing a show, and they're 9-2, and Salguero writes an article in the Herald, and he also comes on my show, and I was doing a Spanish sports talk show at that moment, and he tells me there's something wrong with this team.
Oh wow,
they're 9-2.
Wow, that was a good call.
So he creates this stir in town, like, and immediately, you must be a hater and this and that, all that kind of stuff. It wasn't.
Was Marino hurt or no?
No. It was just one of those things, like the team.
What was his injury? That was an Achilles, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was the Achilles, but that was.
Oh, okay.
But there was like this malaise over the team. Apparently, that there wasn't some kind of chemistry in the team, and sure enough, dude. They went on to lose the next 5 games.
Did they have like Keith Byers and Keith Jackson and Richmond Webb and all those guys?
Yeah.
Irving Fryer, were they all on the team?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, it was an absolute disaster.
Marco Coleman, was he on that team?
The Cobra. I think the Cobra was still on that team.
This is very random. What about the guy who's the NFL executive now, Troy Vincent?
Yes. He was on that team.
All right. So I didn't cover the Dolphins then, but
it was a really good team.
I remember that group. Okay.
It was a fun team, and things fell apart. Now, this is a little different. And so here's where how do we look at McDaniel now? Because there's no doubt that he's got an offensive mind. There's no doubt about that. We've seen what it's like with no offensive mind. Just like watching these 2 quarterbacks play, you can see there's a drop-off from 2 of those guys, accuracy, everything. You know what I'm saying? So, but how do we, as much as there are things to like about McDaniel, the totality of all of this at 8-3 to now be 8-8, this is actually a terrible look for him. So how are you?
Yeah, I mean, you got to point out that Brian Flores won 10 games and 9 games in the previous 2 seasons. If the Dolphins lose on Sunday to the Jets, they'll have 8 wins, which is a colossal disaster, a disappointment, a failure. We will point that out. We will absolutely point it. We will also note that this team has been decimated by injuries, and that McDaniel has been very honest and transparent about learning things in his first year as a head coach, including how to be an effective play caller, how to be a timely play caller, and also how to message with the team. So I have no doubt that he will be a better coach in his second year. But yeah, I mean, it would be a disaster. And then you wonder, will he bring back special teams coach Danny Crossman? Will he bring back Josh Boyer? If he has a chance to hire Vic Fangio, you have to think maybe they move on and turn over the defensive staff. So the Dolphins clearly have the right offense.
If you can hire Fangio, if you can really hire, but he's up there in years. So I don't know how long solution you really want to do it. And again, you can say what you want about the defense. They allowed 16 points, bro. They allowed 16 points. Offense lost its game again.
They seem to get tired.
Yeah.
They get tired because they're playing a lot of snaps.
They suck. They're not a good defense. They don't have a lot of talent on this defense.
I don't know about no talent.
I don't. They don't. They don't have a lot.
Christian
of talent.
Wilkins and Jalen Phillips and Javon
and they can only do some. They can't cover everybody, bro, and they can't play linebacker either. They have no thumper in the middle. They're weak in their secondary.
Roberts was okay today.
They don't have enough of a pass rush. Those guys can only do so much, dude. They don't have much on that defense at all, dude. And yet still 16 points. Offense scored 21. They didn't have to win. But the offense gave away a pick 6 and the idiot field goal kicker missed the field goal.
Another missed field
so
goal, which is very
I mean, you
disappointing.
guys, it's like
He's got to go. You can't go 1-6, 1-7 from 50 yards.
I just think that some of you have you have higher expectations for a group that it's Keon Crossan. Marcel's like, well, he should be better in week 17. I'm like, why? He's Keon Crossan. He's not going to get any better. Just like Noah Igbenogany. I don't give a shit. We're in year 4. He's not going to get any better. Or year 3.
Year 3 or 4, yeah.
Year three. I'm sorry, because 2 is year 3. So it's like he's not going to get any better. He is what he is, dude. What do you want to do?
That was a bad pick, unfortunately.
Yep.
Austin Jackson and Liam Eichenberg haven't proven to be good picks.
So far, they have not. That's for damn sure. All right, what do you got going on in the Palm Beach Post so folks can check you out, my friend?
Yeah, check out the column that I posted on the Palm Beach Post about whether or not the Dolphins should have realized that by signing players who have injuries in their past, that this could happen, that so many key players could be injured at the most critical moment. And Mike McDaniel told that story. It was a specific question. I asked Mike McDaniel if he's ever encountered a roster depth challenge situation like this. And he basically said it'd be up there. And then Dave Hyde followed and said, because I asked him, were Chubb, X, or Armstead very close? And he said, yeah. And then Hyde followed up and said, well, what was the moment where you learned they were all out? Did you get it all at the same time? And he said, yeah. Usually the trainer comes and tells me who's up and down. He goes, this time Greer came over, so I kind of knew it was bad news. Greer came over and said, yeah, we're 0 for 3. And all 3 of those guys are Pro Bowlers. So when you are missing 3 Pro Bowlers and the league leader in passer rating and his backup and all 5 starters on defense, I'm not going to say I'm not a big excuse guy because they almost won. And McDaniel thought that they had enough to win today. But there are reasons. There are reasons for this. There are reasons.
Yeah. It's just he has less excuses on offense. Defense has all the excuses. On offense,
it's tough when Kendall Lamb is going off on a golf cart. Our viewers have never heard of Kendall Lamb. Yeah. And all of a sudden you're like, oh no, he must be important if a guy we've never even heard of is leaving on a golf cart and he's in the game.
Yeah.
Tough.
It's and by the way, apparently they're reporting that Teddy Bridgewater broke a finger.
Not a surprise, yeah.
So
not a surprise.
It'll be the Skyler show. It'll be the Skyler show to end the season.
Maybe you'll shock us all. Pull a Reed Sinnott preseason finale star super unexpected.
Well, they better go get another quarterback because guarantee one thing so far: nor Teddy nor Tyler can finish Skyler. I'm sorry, Teddy or Skyler can't finish a game. So that's the bad part about it. Every time they come in for a game, they don't finish that game. So go get somebody else just in case this week. So this is going to be a very interesting final week.
All right, buddy. I'll see you back home.
Be safe in your travels.
Right, take care.
You got it. There we go. Joe Shad. Enough of the hijinks.
This has been the Hijinks Sports Grill Miami Dolphins Report with Joe Shad. This report is brought to you by Hijinks Sports Grill in Boca at 133 Southeast Meisner Boulevard. Enjoy happy hour from 4 to 7 p.m. Reserve a VIP table online and receive 1 free sparkling wine. Follow them on Instagram at Hijinks Sports Grill.
Like Andrew Jones, I'm going to the game next week against the Jets. I'm going to purchase me a Skylar Thompson jersey. I love it. Hey, you gotta listen. We gotta have a sense of humor here, okay? Because this is bad. What do you got for me, Sean?
I know our day is bad, but poor Ron Rivera. They lost 24-10 to the Browns, right?
Right.
He was thinking they were still in the hunt, and he found out in the press conference that if Green Bay won today, they were officially eliminated. Green Bay is now up 41-10 on the Minnesota Vikings late in the fourth quarter.
Oh, okay. So
that's how he found out they were going to get eliminated. So, at least, okay. He had no idea that they were up for elimination.
Wow. That guy, to take that job to deal with Snyder. By the way, the Jets did lose 23-6, so they're 7-8. And there you go. So we'll see what happens. Geno Smith threw 2 touchdowns today, no interceptions, 183 yards. And Mike White threw 2 interceptions today and 240 yards. But he's the second coming. Mike White, because he's the second coming. All right. Players that are always injured will always be injured. Their bodies can't hold up to the physical nature of football. Sometimes the best ability is availability, and that is mostly the best ability is availability, my friend. You are correct. Yeah, Sean, more news?
No, I just wanted to say Green Bay, their defense, last week against the Dolphins, they continued today. They held Justin Jefferson to 1 catch for 15 yards.
Okay.
So
nice job.
Their defense has caught fire, so it wasn't just all on, poor execution, but Packers defense looking pretty good.
And ruining some people's playoffs. Greer and Igbenogamy and the rest of his crappy draft picks need to go to hole watering and never come back. Thank you for your show. Yeah, this is what's going to happen now, unfortunately, because of the way things have worked out. This is the game. And there's several picks that aren't working out, several players that aren't working out because they're not staying healthy. Peter, thank you for the love on Venmo. At Cash Big O Show. Remember, you can always make a donation at Cash Big O Show on Cash App or Venmo. Theme Parks says Big O. Jason Sanders has missed a field goal in 6 games this season. The Dolphins are 1-5 in those games. 3 of 5 of those losses were on 1-score games. Yeah. Well, they've lost a lot of 1-score games. That'll be the thing next year. They'll tell you, the Dolphins were very competitive because they were in this many 1-score games. It's about winning those 1-score games. I don't want to hear about that you were in those 1-score games. Those things do nothing for me. Okay? All right, we are out of here. We thank Joe Shad. We thank, of course, Marcel Louis-Jacques. We thank Sean Stanley, who masters this program. Please don't forget to smash the hell out of the like button. Please subscribe to the show if you're watching. If you're listening to the show, hit the like button. If you listen to any of the segments, hit the like button. Visit our amazing sponsors. That's how you keep us going. That's how we get to grow and cover the offseason and cover everything South Florida sports. So appreciate all of you out there. If you sent in a super chat, if you sent in a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show, appreciate all of you out there. We will see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Same time, same place, same bat channel. Have a great one.
This has been the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins Postgame Show on the Sports Talk 305 Network. The show is mastered by Sean Stanley and Chad Shobe. From home to kitchen to bathroom additions and remodelings. Get in contact with one of the best contractors in the business. Call Eric at EJDconstruction.com. 305-433-4843. Please subscribe to our platform by searching Big O Radio Show on all digital avenues. On behalf of all our staff, we thank you for supporting us. Have a fantastic week.